Cheers, y'all.
Well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin and Toastin. Welcome to show number 231. Wow.
We're halfway to 300.
We are. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And we are brought to you by mycigarshirts.com. Great shirts for cigar lovers on the web. You can find them at mycigarshirts.com. It's pretty easy to find, and they're a great supporter of the show, so please support them as well. You'll like what you find there, in the shirt start.
They get those great soft-feeling shirts.
Yeah, they really do.
Awesome.
I got to buy
them. And then, you get the print on it, and it doesn't feel all sticky and weird on the inside, like cheap
like cheap T-shirts, yeah. So I bought the hoodie, the zip-up hoodie that said mycigarshirts.com because cigars. And I've worn it basically all winter. But now I'm actually kind of sad because it's getting a little too warm to wear.
Now you got to tear the sleeves off, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Do the Bill Belichick thing. Well, welcome to the show. Next Wednesday is Cinco de Mayo. And so we could have waited to do a Cinco de Mayo themed show.
Cinco de Mayo is Spanish for Cinco of Mayo.
Of Mayo, yes, that's right. And so we are. We could have waited until next week to do the Cinco de Mayo show, but then it would have been the day after, and that it feels like you want to be ahead of the game. You want to build it up. Plus, we're going to be talking tequila, and if any of this sounds good, it might be something you want to go and get for Cinco de Mayo. So, with that in mind, we have invited a couple of very special guests today. First of all, I'm proud and thrilled to announce the return of the Smokin and Toastin tequila expert, who doesn't like us to call her an expert, but we do anyway. Please welcome back Lilliana Rodriguez.
Hi, guys.
Lilliana,
very nice to be here.
You have picked up, since you were on the show the first time, and you've been on the comments in some of the show, you picked up fans out there. There's people who are loving your action here on the show.
We get the, when's Lilliana coming back all the time?
Oh, yeah, we get that all the time. And not just from Bruce. So,
Hi, Bruce.
Bruce is definitely a fan. Didn't you tell me that he found you on Facebook? And
yeah, we're friends now.
Okay,
awesome. Yeah, he's such a fun guy.
Well, Lilliana not only knows a great deal about tequila, but she also knows a great deal about a whole bunch of other things like cactus and Cinco de Mayo and well, she could. I could just let her go for the whole show, and she could inform us, and maybe that's what we should do. But today we also have to make time.
It would make us sound more intelligent.
Well, that's exactly what it did the first time she was here. But today we have to make time for an Anejo Tequila blind taste test. And that's what we're going to be doing. I'll explain how that goes in a few minutes. But I want to welcome our other special guest. And I was talking to my wife, and I said, I'm so excited for Lilliana coming back on. And then I thought, we should have my best tequila buddy on the show, too. And that is my daughter-in-law, Brianna.
Hi,
welcome,
guys.
Brianna, to the show.
Thank you.
So it's true. Oh, we're getting a public safety alert. Wow. They want me to get a vaccination, but I already have 2.
I'm already on it, yes.
Yeah, I already have 2.
You're ahead of the game.
When Brianna, and Brianna, by the way, is Adam, our producer's wife. So she's been up here on the show before, but we've never sat her in front of a microphone.
No, she's usually over there tasting the drinks, but not commenting.
I thought, she's going to want to come up and taste the tequilas today. And if she's going to taste the tequilas, we need to let her chime in on what she thinks about them. Because when Brianna and Adam come over, the very first thing that happens after the introductory round of hugs is Brianna and I start drinking tequila together. That's
this is very true.
It's just what happens.
Well,
I'm not making this up.
I like the premise of today's show, keeping in line with what tequila is and does. Is you never have just one tequila.
That's right.
So
as Sammy Hagar says, mas tequila, and that means mas tequila. Yeah, right, exactly. So we're going to taste 16 different tequilas today.
16?
Yes. So I'm going to ask each of you to keep your sips small, just because I don't want you to, by the last segment, I don't want you to be unable to tell the difference between the tequilas. Exactly. So it's going to be a very interesting show. And, it should be enough that we're tasting 16 tequilas blind. But no, I've also brought beers.
Of course.
So we'll be tasting a couple of interesting things from Somerset, Wisconsin, and Oliphant Brewing. We'll be tasting their Honeys. It's a peanut butter and honey golden ale.
Honeys?
Honeys.
Nice.
That sounds delicious. From Beaver Brewery in Bloomington, Illinois, we'll be tasting their Wainbows Hazy Pale Ale. Wainbows.
Wainbows. I've never heard of it.
I haven't either until today. And then from right here in our hometown of Houston, St. Arnold Brewing's Commitment Imperial Stout, which should be very interesting.
Am I supposed to act like I've never, tried that?
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, just pretend.
I'll pretend.
Just pretend. But I haven't tried the Hazy Pale Ale. Honestly, I thought about it, but I decided I would wait. I have tried a few of these tequilas before, so we'll have to see, as in pretty much most of them.
Yeah. Are these from your collection?
Yes, they are. Except Lilliana also brought a surprise tequila too, and I have no idea which one that is. So she kept it wrapped up. In fact, even when she handed it over. So
and I just have a very short announcement, but I think it's important.
Yes.
Brianna and myself both have designated drivers.
Okay,
so that
it's good to
everybody
know. That is
knows
very
that.
important and good to know. And I have Uber, so we're good to go. We're good to go. So I'm really looking forward to the show. Of course, I love tequila. If I had to say, and everybody lines up a little differently on this, but when it comes to spirits, tequila is my number one. I love it. I love rum. I love whiskey. But if all other things are equal, I choose the tequila. So I'm
on your
excited.
team there.
Yeah, see, this is why Brianna and I. Well, it's one of the many reasons, but Brianna and I get along pretty darn well. So it's a pretty good thing we got going on. So
I just want to point out, I think she's a little difficult to not get along with.
Yeah, she kind of has that about her. So
we're gushing now.
So Lilliana, before we get started on the tasting, and before I talk to Ian about his cigar for the week, I thought maybe you would be the right person to ask, because most people, when they say Cinco de Mayo, they go margaritas, and that's a good thing. But Cinco de Mayo is. Well, it's a little more involved than just being Mexican Independence Day. In fact, it's not really even actually Mexican Independence Day, is it? No. So you're a great person to tell us what Cinco de Mayo is actually all about.
Okay, well, everything started around 1860.
This is one
a long time ago. Mexican independence happened in 1810. So we're talking about 50 years later. Mexico was in a lot of trouble financially. And the United States was in the middle of the Civil War. So Mexico owed a lot of money to three countries: Spain, the United Kingdom, and France.
For me, it's MasterCard, Visa, and Discovery.
And President Juarez said, "We are very sorry. We're going to have to stop payments for the money we owe you for 2 years so we can recuperate."
Okay.
And that was...
that didn't go over too well, did it?
No. So by the next year...
It doesn't work with Visa either, by the way, just so you know. Yeah.
But the next year, the three countries had already sent their ships and their troops to the state of Veracruz, which is in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
And then the United Kingdom and England were able to establish some agreement with Mexico, and they left.
Okay.
But
so it only left the French, didn't it?
French,
yeah.
Which was then ruled by Napoleon III.
So this is before they got into that surrender thing.
Yeah,
that came later. Yeah.
Napoleon III was actually the nephew of Bonaparte.
Okay.
Anyway, so they advanced, and then they got into Puebla. And this is in 1862. On May the 5th, they reached Puebla, and they were about 4,000 men. And the French army was very powerful. They had already conquered Southeast Asia and parts of Northern Africa, so they were very powerful. And Napoleon actually wanted to establish a French government in Mexico. Because he wanted to help the Confederacy. Interestingly.
Oh, interestingly, yeah.
Can you imagine? You know what he wanted in exchange for guns and all that?
What? Tequila.
No.
It was a good guess.
Plot twist.
Cotton. cotton
Okay.
from the south.
Okay.
Because it was a rare commodity in Europe at the time. So
Okay.
that's where
Makes
he wanted.
sense, yeah.
Anyway, so they arrive into the forts of Loreto and Guadalupe with 4,000 men. Mexico, under President Juarez, had only recruited 2,000 men. They were mainly indigenous men and some of mixed, ethnicities.
So not a well-trained fighting force at all. Right.
And guess what? They won. They won the
Wow.
battle.
Wow.
So, but it was very significant on that Cinco de Mayo, 1862, because of the contrast between a very powerful nation and a nation that was still growing and didn't have the means that
Right,
the
to really-
Europeans had. So it is a big thing. It was a big thing, but a lot of people don't know what happened afterwards.
And that was.
That was the next year, Napoleon sends 30,000
Ooh.
men.
Not good.
And at that time, actually, they won
Yeah, I
the
was
war.
going to say, that didn't go so well for Mexico, did it?
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Wow.
Mexico was ruled by them for 4 years.
Well, like so many other holidays that started out having, very serious significance.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day comes to mind, for example. As time goes by and those memories fade, it really becomes just more about drinking.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
And the U.S. has many more celebrations than in Mexico. In Mexico, it's not even a national holiday,
Right,
Cinco de
right.
Mayo. Everything is open, banks are open. Yeah, the
But
kids
here-
don't go to school, but
But here we're like, margaritas, woo!
well, actually, let me tell you this because you guys like beer. This is a very important trivia. Is Cinco de Mayo and the Super Bowl are the top days
The top-
in the U.S. when about for beer
For drinking
sales.
beer. Wow,
Yes,
wow, that doesn't surprise me.
in the U.S.
That doesn't surprise me. I know that when I was, back in the days when I was a nightclub DJ, the big days were Cinco de Mayo, Halloween,
Halloween's always a big
and
party.
the night after Thanksgiving. Actually, Thanksgiving night, the actual Thursday, and the day after Thanksgiving, because on the actual Thursday, people were like, I have been stuck in here with my parents and my grandparents all day. I am going out.
I need a
those were
stiff
always
drink.
yeah, those were always big nights. So, that's really fascinating stuff. And like so many things, it's become about getting together and celebrating Mexican culture and Mexican food and Mexican drinks. And so we will be drinking the most Mexican of spirits,
And
tequila.
the United States, 4 years after the French invasion, actually, the United States supported Mexico to get him out.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, because we knew that was where the tequila came from. It's like, what do you got, France? Some wine? Yeah, we got plenty of wine. We got California. We'll go with the tequila. That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for that. It's fascinating stuff, and we'll get into more of that as the show goes and we begin to enjoy some tequila. But I really want to make sure we don't forget our cigar friends. And Ian, what can you tell me about something interesting you smoked this weekend? By the way, Adam's already told me he thinks I will like your cigar choice for today.
Well, you will, because it was made by none other than AJ Fernandez.
Yeah, I've heard of that guy. Is he any good?
Yeah, he seems to come across your tongue quite a bit.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a fanboy.
A few weeks back, I was hanging out with my buddy Joel, and he gave me a cigar. It was the AJ Fernandez Gran Llave.
Ah.
And I hadn't had a chance to smoke it, and so I figured this morning I would sit outside on my patio and have it. This was a Churchill 7x50. This is the La Gran Llave Connecticut
Okay.
Churchill. This is Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, and then binder and filler, as far as I could tell, are Nicaragua. The appearance on this, classy white and gold band, secondary AJ Fernandez band, smooth with some veins, light brown in color overall, almost tan. Firm overall with some softer spots. A slight split on the wrapper due to some handling mishaps.
That happens.
So you'll see in the pictures, you'll see that split going on. And it was right up just past the head of the cigar. So I was a little afraid that it was going to interrupt the performance of the cigar. I went ahead and, I did a pre-light sniff on this. This was pleasant tobacco, tea leaf, fermented hay, baking spices, and a little touch of licorice. like black licorice.
You can get that sometimes on the Connecticut wrapper cigars.
Yeah,
You get a little
it's,
bit
it's
of a
one of those
licorice
things
flavor.
that pops up. And I don't do a whole lot of Connecticut wrapper cigars because I
Right.
just love Maduro and
Mm-hmm.
other. So the pre-light draw on this, I used a clip. It was a medium draw. I had a little sweetness going throughout it. Some toast, tea leaf, licorice, again, slight mint on there as well. Mint is one of those funny flavors that shows up once in a while.
Right, you don't really expect it in a
And
cigar,
you don't
but it does
expect it, but
every
it is
now
there.
and then.
It's
Yeah.
on some cigars. The first third of this: toast, campfire, pepper, baking spices. Oh, I skipped over my initial light, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm trying to go a little fast because we got a lot of
We got a
stuff
lot
to
of
do
we
here.
got a lot of tequila to
The initial
drink.
light of this burst of fresh cut grass and wood, campfire and coffee with a touch of mint right there in it as well. The first third of this: toast, campfire, pepper, baking spices, cedar, and hints of mint and licorice over a spiced coffee kind of foundation. It was really nice. Spice, like almost like a chicory coffee, just a little hint
That
of
really rich, yeah.
Yeah. The retrohale was very charred toast and powdered sugar. It was very nice. Flaky ash, perfect burn for the first third of this. The second third of this, the split in a wrapper doesn't seem to have any effect on the performance of the cigar. Distinctive nuttiness develops and brings nutmeg and more mintiness into it. Creamy sweetness and graham cracker crust kind of interplay with wood and vanilla. Solid medium strength with delicate and complex flavors, which I thought was pretty interesting. Flaky ash, a bit of an uneven burn through the second third of this. I never tended it, but it kind of wandered a little bit and did its thing. The last third of this, picking up some leather and oaky notes. Burn evened out on its own. The pepper ramped up to the front of the palate a little bit. The split in a wrapper never interfered with the smoking of the cigar. It had a couple little splits down the length of it, and it just burned right through like nothing. So I was pretty impressed by that. That says something for construction on that cigar.
Yep.
Flaky ash, good burn. Price on this cigar, I believe, is around the $10 point on this. I gave it a 6, and I gave it a 6 because I think you're not only getting what you paid for, but the construction on this, for it to be as abused as it was and still smoke perfectly.
Yeah.
I think you got to get an extra
It's almost
point
like
for
that guy
It's
knows
great.
what he's doing.
Yeah, man, it was a great
This
cigar.
AJ Fernandez dude. It's funny. You and I met him, Ian. We were at a cigar event at Stogie's several years ago, and it was really before I got so
Yes.
into being such a fan of his products, and so I didn't embarrass myself today.
That's right. Today, I think
If
you'd
it
probably
happened-
pee a little bit.
Oh, I probably would. It'd be a very embarrassing. This man is like, I keep going back to his stuff and going, why hasn't everybody else figured this out? He's just really good. I did not have an AJ today, though. I had one of the oldest names in cigars, La Aurora. La Aurora is a cigar company that is steeped in longtime traditions. They were founded in 1903.
That's the one with the big lion on it,
Yep.
right?
So
Yeah,
they've had a
love
lot
that.
of time to develop traditions. And I smoked the La Aurora Maduro. It's the La Aurora Maduro 1985 USA, to be specific. Now, one of their traditions is the time capsule line of cigars. They have certain ones that they give a date to, and those specific blends are designed to reflect these specific time periods and the years that they released specific blends of tobacco in their line. So 1985 is one of these. It's a dark leaf cigar.
That is beautiful.
Brazilian Maduro wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and fillers, all rolled in the Dominican Republic. Pre-light sniff on this, and the draw offered up some gentle aromas of oak, along with hay and a little hint of raisin, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if I've ever gotten raisin on the pre-light before, but I did on this one. I used a punch and lit the cigar. It gave me a pleasant little concentrated pepper blast right out of the gate. It was.
I'm digging that 50s mod looking ashtray, by the way.
I love this. Is my favorite ashtray. Well, I don't know if it's my favorite. It was one of my favorites. The pre-light sniff was great. The cigar, once I lit it, was very easy to smoke. I mean, it was just like effortless draw. It actually even smoked a little faster than I would have guessed, but not so fast that it was too hot, so it was okay. Initial dominant flavors were dark chocolate, a definite oakiness along with some black pepper on the finish. The burn was, somewhere between straight and crooked, but there was no canoeing or runners, so I didn't have any complaints. The ash held on for the full first third of the cigar, which you can see in that picture there. But I finally flicked it off because I just had
Cigar
the
Dave would say, "Long ashes, my friend."
I just had the feeling it was eyeing my shirt. You know? so I finally just flicked it off. I figured this is long enough.
Preemptive strike.
By the second third, I was getting a little bit of sweetness, some hints of nuts making their way into the flavor profile. The strength had built a little bit by this point. Medium-bodied is where I'd put this one. It picked up some grassiness in the mix around the midpoint, and oak and chocolate remained the dominant flavors throughout. But I do have to say that
sounds
the
delicious.
1985 had a little more collection of flavors in the mix than I was expecting. I got a slight pepper tang on the tongue, and in the retrohale that was nice. The last third didn't change too much from the midpoint, but I did pick up just a little bit of kind of a creamy oat flavor that combined with the chocolate real nicely. It was very pleasant. Strength stayed at about a medium. I enjoyed the 1985. It was a $6 cigar, and I'm starting to wonder if we're getting to the place where with cigar prices that we consider $6 to be an inexpensive budget cigar.
I think so. I think $6 used to start premium,
Right, and I'm not sure it does
but
anymore. I think
prices
this-
on everything. Have you priced lumber lately?
Oh,
It's
and no,
absolutely
but
insane.
everything's
Everything's getting
outrageous.
so
Yeah.
expensive.
So if we're looking at this as a budget smoke, it was pretty damn good. I think Nica Libres, which you can buy for slightly less, might be a little better. But in general, you're not going to find much in your local cigar shop in the humidor for under $6 that's going to be better than what this was. I wouldn't call this an outstanding cigar, but it was pretty good. And at $6, I'm going to recommend it and give it a 6 on the price to quality.
Nice. So two solid
scale.
sixes
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
I will
so-
say anything by either company today.
It's tough
is
to
a
go
good
wrong with
bet,
AJ
yeah.
or Aurora. You're absolutely right. And Aurora's easy to overlook because they've been around so long, and they aren't the new kid on the block or whatever. They're just one of those consistent, like Fuente. They're one of those consistent cigar companies that just keeps making great products. All right, who wants some tequila?
I'm in.
Present.
I just have a question. You didn't
Yes.
smoke a cigar before the tasting, right?
That was this morning.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it won't have an effect because it might.
Well,
It's possible, but
Yeah.
the truth is anything. Like I could have eaten spicy food.
Right.
Spicy food. I know. I was reading the rules from the Academy,
Yeah.
Mexican
Oh, yeah.
Academy. Oh, no lotion or
Oh.
perfume or
right.
nothing that can interfere
So,
with the.
I definitely want to ask you some questions about that, but I'll just say I smoke a cigar before I taste everything. So
So that's pretty normal.
It's consistent for me. It's just going to be, however this tastes to me will be, just exactly like what works, in my little tasting circle. So.
Well, you're the boss, and you can do whatever you want.
Oh, well, if I'm the boss, I say let's have some tequila. We'll do that in the next segment. It's Smokin' and Toastin'. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the show today. It is our tequila blind taste test. We have guest tasters with us, Brianna and Lilliana, and I didn't pick them because their names rhyme. I just they're my favorite tequila people, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It is Smokin' and Toastin', the radio program that's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are on show number 231, and we are brought to you by MyCigarShirts.com. Great shirts for cigar lovers on the web, and they started under $20. MyCigarShirts.com because...
Cigars.
Thank you. All right, Adam, our producer, and Brianna's husband, is behind the screens where we can't see what he's pouring, and he will be pouring our first 4 tequilas. We'll be tasting 4 tequilas in this segment. But while he was doing that, Ian,
So
you have a birthday coming up.
I do.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, unfortunately, be able to be with you on your birthday, so I brought your birthday present onto the show.
Okay,
And I think that
Can I
Thunk-
make a guess
I think
just
that
by the
Thunk
thunk
may
as
have
you
let
said
you
it?
know at least part of what is going on. But
Let's see here.
I would
That's a
love
T-shirt, right?
it. Yeah, exactly. I'd love it if you'd open up your gift on the air here on the
Happy
show.
birthday to me.
Yes,
Happy birthday,
Yes.
Ian.
Happy
He's got a
birthday,
birthday
Ian.
coming.
Oh,
so
wait, what is this?
what is this? Oh, yep. Uh-huh.
There's something
It's
fluffy in here.
something fluffy. Yes.
That's Mary's wrapping to a T.
Oh my God!
Okay. That is the coolest stuffed toy I've ever seen in my life. The Incredible
I
E-Hulk.
can't see what it looks like on the camera. There.
Yeah.
Could you flip that around so I could,
Here.
I could show that? That's
we go.
amazing. Look at that.
Yeah, and in addition, there is also something in there that goes thunk. So
That's amazing.
so yeah, I just thought,
Where do you even find something?
leave it to my wife. She's the one who finds amazing stuff. She'll come home and say things to me like, "I have an idea for Brianna's birthday," and I'll be like, "Brianna's birthday's not for like 11 months."
My wife will do that. She'll pick up stuff that's for random people throughout the year. It'll be for,
No, my wife's great. She's
Is
all
that-
about
is that a-
finding.
Is that a woman?
she's
like
all-
I
that?
do that too.
She's
You
all
do
about
that too?
finding the right idea, no matter when it is. You buy the gift then, if you can. So, Ian, I decided you don't have quite enough rum in your life,
I
and
do
I figured you'd be tasting tequilas today. So I
Porteño
bought you a little.
21 Colombian rum.
I bought you a little favorite from the rum closet.
That is beautiful.
Yes, I think you
We
will
tried
enjoy
this on
that.
the show once,
A
right?
long time ago,
Long time
yes,
ago.
and it was
Absolutely
It got
fantastic.
rave reviews. So, so that one's all for you.
And then I can
Congratulations
protect my
and happy birthday.
rum with my
with your protective Hulk.
Hulk-like
Yes.
personality.
Yeah. We could have gotten you one that was Spider-Man. We could have gotten you Captain America, but no, the Hulk was the right one.
Smash.
Yeah, Ian Smash, exactly.
Yeah, that's a little more me.
Yeah, Ian Smash or Ian Smashed. Either way, it works, right?
Yep, that happens.
and then there's a little card from my wife and I. So
This says, "Is it liquor before beer, never fear, or was it liquor before whiskey makes you frisky?"
so
Birthdays are a good time to ponder these questions. Thank you guys.
yeah.
So
Happy
much.
birthday, my
Thank
friend.
you.
So enjoy. And by the way, I do have to mention that your Incredible Hulk Ian doll almost met its end before I was able to give it to you. Because
Gracie?
yes, Gracie was quite interested. Usually any stuffed toy that comes into the house is fair game for my greyhound, and she was very interested. I was like, okay, we got to remember to keep this up high until we get it wrapped.
I like the
So-
picture that you found of me with the rosy cheeks and
Yes.
everything.
Oh, it's perfect, isn't it?
Thank you so
It's
much.
absolutely perfect. So happy
That's
birthday, my
awesome.
friend. That's absolutely
You know
awesome.
what? I'm gonna stick this in the bag
So that he's showing out the top. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's perfect.
So if you stare over there.
Yeah.
you
That's
guys-
It looks like a small man
it is a small man. Small man version of a larger
hiding
man.
inside the bag.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been accused of that since I was in high school.
All right, so Adam is doing a great job with the pours. I have no idea what he's pouring, but here's the way that the taste test is going to work. We will taste 4 tequilas per segment. These are both the same one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so pass these two around, and you can pass. So this is going to be tequila number 1.
We were making Adam work this time.
Yes, we are. So we'll go
All right.
4
Thank
per
you.
segment, and then once we do the 4, we'll rank them as to which ones we like the best in order, and then at the end of the segment, we'll find out what the 4 were. At the end of the show, once we've done 16 tequilas worth of tasting, we will each give our favorite 3 of the whole time.
I thought it was 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor.
Something like that, yes. That's something
I
like
have
that.
a question.
Yes.
Are we gonna describe the color
yeah,
and
love
the
for you
smell,
to.
the aroma,
Now-
or no? Just the tasting.
No, I'd love for you to, but that said, we have 16,
And
so
we
we
don't
probably
have
don't want to
enough
go
time.
into too
Yeah.
much detail,
Detail.
or we'll be here all day.
Okay.
So the first one, but yeah, you should definitely say what you're getting on the nose and what your overall impression of the taste is. So, I already love number 1. I haven't even tasted it, and I'm already in love with number 1.
Yeah, big agave and vanilla on the nose.
Wow, that's terrific. A lot of agave, and then in the on the finish, some definite vanilla and maple, which those are the flavors I'm just all about when it comes to tequila.
It's got a very subtle pepperiness to it. Mm-hmm. I'm used to having a little more pepperiness.
It does. So I make myself. What I have a tendency to do, because it's hard. I don't know what the next 3 are going to be like that we're comparing it against. So I do little arrows, kind of either pointing straight up or kind of up or down, or like, and then try to remember as I'm ranking these. But you do whatever works for you on your
So
notes.
what we're doing? Okay, so let's get this straight. So we got these lines here. So we're gonna pick our best of these 4.
Best of these 4, you're going to rank them actually 4, 3, 2, 1 as to what you
Gotcha,
like the
okay.
best. And then once we do that, we'll find out what each one of them were. But I'd say this is a great start. I love this. All right, Adam, whenever you're ready, we'll go for tequila number 2. All right, thank you, sir. I'll pass these around.
Bruce said this is going to be a 4.5-hour show.
We try not to do those super long shows anymore, but we'll just see. We'll just see how this flows. Did I pass one to everybody? Oh, there you go, Lilliana.
Don't
No.
forget to
clean your palate.
clean your palates
Yep,
in between
yep,
them.
That's important. Yes.
Ian's excited.
What, you mean I have to drink water too?
I just try to dive into my research when I can.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, very
See,
good.
now I've tainted my palate with water.
Ooh. So this one to me is a little more subtle, but still very good. Ooh.
It's really smooth.
Yes, and not in the bad way, you know, because some people say when you say smooth with the spirit, it's like not a good thing. This is smooth is a very good thing. So, wow, feels a little more subtle than the first. The agave is not quite as present. Would be my take, but feel free to
peppery
speak.
aftertaste.
Feel
on
free
that.
to speak up. Yeah, the pepper in this one is not in the middle; it's more in the finish.
Yeah.
So-
Are we gonna do the whiskey smack? It's actually recommended when you're tasting
So how do you
to see if there's any.
I think
to-
4
Yeah.
people times 16 doing this. I think we're gonna lose our audience.
We're going to have
Okay, so
0
this is a-
viewers.
We'll have to do that off mic.
So I have to learn. I had to learn what I call the sizzle. I don't know if that's really what it's called, but I learned that from Chris Hart, our tequila expert buddy, who does the whiskey. Our whiskey
the
expert
inhale.
buddy. Yeah, when he does the. I call that the sizzle. I don't know if that's what it really is or not, but yeah, that's well. Okay, so far nothing bad. In fact, I have a feeling there's not going to be anything bad for the entire taste test, but we'll see. You never know what I might have snuck in there. All right. Wow. This just reminds me of why this is my favorite spirit. I
Right?
just love me some tequila.
What a way to spend my Thursday
Right.
afternoon.
And thank you for doing this, Brianna. This is good to get an additional set of taste buds in here. And
Thank you for having me.
so here comes number 3. Not as much on the nose for me on this one.
It smells a little smoky.
Tastes a little smoky too.
Very smoky.
Did we throw a mezcal in here? I wonder. No, it's not as smoky as a mezcal.
Right? Yeah, no. It's not as smoky, but
But
it's
see,
pretty
the
close.
smoky and the pepper actually got me with a little sneeze there. Ian, what's your take on this one?
It's this one has like that mineral aftertaste and vanilla, and almost has a powdered sugar kind of flavor,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
especially
about.
in the retrohale.
Like almost like a baking spice powdered sugar. Like the sort of powdered sugar that's on top of like a pastry, you know? That's good.
It's sweet on the nose, but I'm
It
not
is,
really
yeah.
getting those tasting notes.
It's not
whenever
a big
Agree.
aroma.
No,
on it.
no, you're right. I didn't get a whole lot
It's
on the nose.
big though when you take a sip though.
Yeah,
Big
it's got
peppery
some
punch.
definite pepper punch. So, okay, so one more for this segment. This may be harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought there would be like, some that would be real standouts, and that could happen, I suppose. But
You got good taste.
these have all been pretty good. Yeah. I did raid the bar for this, my bar, and that's not where every one of them
I
came
think I
from.
have
but
2 or 3 tequilas
most
in
of
my
them.
entire
I didn't
bar.
even ask you to bring them, but yeah, when I went digging, I was like, because for a while I've known we were going to do the show, so I've been trying not to polish anything off all the way, and so I have, as Adam will tell you, there's a number of these that have just a little tequila left in the bottom, but it's not like it's been sitting there that way for a long time, because I generally drink my tequilas.
See,
So
this one has a smoky nose.
Now I want to say something. Even though I'm listening to your comments and everything, I'm trying to just remain to what
Yeah,
I
sure, yeah.
because they say people can influence
People- yeah, all right.
each other
Well,
by listening.
So I feel like we have to describe this a little bit, or it gets really boring watching
yeah,
four people drink tequila.
Of course.
But
That's
yes,
valid.
you're right. Don't let what I say influence what
Mm-hmm.
you were tasting. But Ian and I are just used to immediately talking about whatever we taste. I do it to my wife at home. It's ridiculous, you know. So she'll pour something to drink, and I'll be like, "Ooh, it's very floral with a hint of hibiscus," and she'll be like, "Would you just stop it?" So.
This one is interesting because the agave hits the middle of the palate.
Yes, this is very different actually from the
I
other
think
three.
This is okay.
So one of the things it'll be interesting, tequilas can range wildly in price. So it'll be interesting to kind of get. I think I've got a good feel for what most of these bottles cost. So it'll be interesting to see if the higher priced tequilas perform better or not necessarily.
Can I make a slight suggestion on this beautiful Smokin' and Toastin' sheet that
Please
you
do.
had printed up?
Yes.
If we change tequila 1, 2, 3, 4 to A, B, C, D, it'll probably be less
Okay.
confusing.
You're right, because we're going to be numbering
when we
them 1, 2,
number
3, 4. All right. Yeah.
how
so,
we like it. That way we're
so
not
let's
saying
call them
number
tequila
4 is
A,
1 and 3 is 2
B, C, and D.
and up is down and down
So,
is up.
so we just had tequila D, and Ian, let's start with you. Put these in order of what you liked, starting with D and going to A, or starting with 4 and going to 1,
D and going to A. So
or starting with 4 and going to 1, I should say.
the last one, D, is my number. Oh, so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
want to
so-
go from.
right. So what's your number 4?
We want to
3,
go
2,
backwards
1.
in order
Yes.
we like it. Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go C.
Okay.
4. See, I'm
C is
I'm
your-
getting already confused with the number. I'm gonna go B
So B is your number 3 or 4?
is number 3.
Okay, so you went C, B
Tequila 1 would be number 2, and tequila 4 would be number 1.
would be number 1.
Or
so
tequila
interesting.
D would be number 1. That's what. See, that's why we need
Right.
the letters.
No, you're right. So
So
your,
yeah, so I got
so
from
your number
A, yeah. So in order from what I like, the least to the best, I'm gonna say C, A, B, D.
CABT. Okay. Brianna?
Okay, so I like the first one the most.
Okay.
The second one, the second.
Mm-hmm.
D is 3
Okay.
and C is 4.
So Brianna was A, B, D,
C.
C, with A being your favorite.
Yes, A being my
Okay.
favorite.
All right. What about you, Lilliana?
Okay, well, I tend to disagree.
And good. That's what I'm hoping. I don't want us to all agree on
my
these.
favorite was D.
Okay.
I love the agave, like Ian mentioned it, and the flavor in the middle of the palate, and some. I also tasted some flowers. It was nice.
These were all very
Uh-huh.
good.
And then I have a tie between A and B. I gave them both 1 star,
Okay.
just on my own, scoring.
Now, 1 star being good or bad?
Good.
Okay,
Good.
got it.
Okay, but the second one, the second one was not as good, B, because it didn't have enough aroma. I couldn't really smell anything.
Okay.
And then the C to me was not good, so I did not like it.
So you went, starting with number 1, you went D, and then A and B, kind of either one for the middle, and then C was your number 4.
Yes.
Okay. It surprises me not at all how close my rankings are going to be to Brianna's, because I knew this was going to happen, and it'll be interesting to see if it happens for the whole show. But I'm going to go with from 4, 3, 2, 1. My number 4 was D, which Ian and Lilliana both picked as their number 1.
I switched mine.
Yeah, and then
end.
I went C, B, A. So I loved that first one. That was
Me too.
just
It's delicious.
spectacular. So very interesting, and this is why it's fun to do these, because we all taste things a little bit differently, and we all kind of have and figure out our favorites. Adam, we are so curious. Let's do the big reveal. Let's start with what was A, which I believe Brianna and I both picked as our favorite of the 4.
A was Carrera.
Carrera. And do you have the bottle handy so we can show these bottles as we do it? So yeah. Oh,
I think I'm saying that. Am I saying that correctly?
Carrera.
Carrera.
Carrera. Roll your R's.
Carrera.
So Ian,
That's easy
maybe
for you
show
to
that
say.
so people can see what that bottle looks like.
Carrera.
All
I
right,
can't roll
so
Mars.
there you go. And then B.
B was Espolón. I can say that.
Espolón.
No wonder I loved
is Espolón is a really good, and you can see how much of this Espolón I had left. Espolón is I think a really good, inexpensive tequila. It's not as highly priced as some of the other ones.
Let me see that. Oh yeah, they sure have changed the
They
presentation
have, yes.
drastically.
Yes.
Did you buy this because of all the skeletons on here?
No, it had
Dia de
nothing to
los
do with it.
Muertos.
This is finished in bourbon barrels.
I love
Yeah,
Espolón.
yeah,
That's
very-
probably our go-to.
That's I put big vanilla flavor on it. That probably has a lot to do with it.
C, I believe, was Lilliana didn't like C as much. It was her last place, but I think
Me and Lilliana
Ian
agreed on that as well.
Ian said that as well. For me, C was number 3, and I think the same was true for Brianna. What was C?
Miko.
Miko. Now, this is so interesting, and it's what is so crazy about these blind taste tests, because Ian and I had this tequila on the show maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and we raved about
Loved it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Go ahead and show the Miko bottle.
Which distillery makes Miko?
I think it's their. Oh, I think they are their own brand.
Ordered by Icon Brands.
Yeah, I think it's the Miko distillery. But I remember from the show, we thought it had a very
which
prominent chocolate flavor to it.
Okay, if you get the NOM, I can look that up later,
1107, 1107.
1107.
and we can find out who makes it.
All right.
Liliana's going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
D was Ian's favorite, I believe, right? And
my favorite too.
and Liliana's favorite. So 2 out of 4 went favorite for D, and it was
Casa Noble.
Casa
All
Noble.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
Well, all right. It was so different to me from the other ones, Ian. If you want to show the Casa Noble and let everybody see what that bottle looks like.
I
So-
have a trivia quick about
Okay.
Casa Noble.
Go ahead.
They pair with the company that makes the Riedel glasses.
And this is a Riedel glass right here that
in
you're holding.
2001,
Right.
Casa Noble presented this as the best, glass
Fun,
to
yeah.
taste some tequilas, especially for reposados, not for añejos.
It
Now,
really directs the
people are
aroma into your nose. When
people
you're
are using the sort of classic Glencairn a lot more for tequila
That's
tasting,
the
aren't they?
official
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Okay,
the
very interesting,
Glencairn
yeah.
whiskey glass, but there's a different variation, right? This
Yeah.
is another whiskey tasting glass, but look how wide it is.
Right.
So, but this is the recommended one
Well-
now for the
and
catadores.
the whole idea between the whiskey glass, the Glencairn shape, is to give it's bigger at the bottom so that you give enough surface area to release the
Aromas.
aromas.
The aromas, yes.
And then it's skinnier at the top to direct those so that when you take a sip, it's right in your nose.
I would say that based on my experience with tequila, and I have had some, my favorite tequila glass generally is the one that I'm holding in my hand. That's usually the one that I have a tendency
Yeah,
to like
it's
the best.
like
you know?
a science now. There's
Yeah,
so many.
I know.
But people do whatever they want to do. Some people use wine glasses.
Right, and I got to tell you that works just fine. So, but
So almost everything in my house is either in a whiskey glass or a rocks glass.
Right.
Right.
So
Same.
I will tell you
Same for us,
that
too.
that our own Liliana is becoming more and more knowledgeable about all of these things, and I'm going to have her tell us exactly why coming up in our next segment. Plus, it's time to do a little more tasting, round 2 of the Tequila Blind Taste Test. Now, guys, remember what you like the best here, because at the end of the show, we're going to have you name your 3 favorites of the whole tasting flight, right? So it might be harder to remember segment 1 by the time we get there. So, make yourself whatever notes you need to make so you can come back if any of these you think might be a candidate for one of your top 3 for the whole thing. All right, let's take a break and we will return. We also didn't taste a beer, so we'll get into that in the next segment as well. It's time for some honeys. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Smokin and Toastin, and we are thrilled to have you joining us for our Tequila Blind Taste Test show. It's show number 231 as we prepare for Cinco de Mayo with our special guest, Lilliana Rodriguez, our resident tequila expert, and my own personal tequila buddy, Brianna Andrus. Welcome to the show, ladies. And it's nice to have like a gender balance here.
Yes.
You know, it's usually just kind of like the boys club in here, and maybe we get one, female guest on, but now it feels more balanced. I like this. Will you guys come back and just be on the show every week? Is that okay?
If I can squeeze it in.
All right, so we're doing Tequila Blind Taste Test. I did forget to mention, but I'll write that wrong now, that we will be doing drinking news today. That's our segment of the program where we like to bring you a story that may or may not be about drinking from the news, from the headlines in the news, but is generally always best enjoyed
Do we have a headline to
when
look
you are
forward
drinking.
to?
Oh, yes, we do. Today's drinking news headline: is it my birthday, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh, I know why you did that.
So, yes, we'll get to that coming up. And there's also some things going on. We've had, we have so much happening on the show today with the Tequila Taste Test. I really haven't gotten into too many stories, but there's a few things we may be able to talk about. I won't promise them because I don't want to disappoint. Let's get to some beer, though. We haven't talked craft beer much today, and I want to right that wrong right now as Ian opens a can of Honey's Honeys.
Honey's
It's
Honeys.
a peanut butter and honey
This thing
golden
has
ale.
crazy artwork on it.
Yeah,
too.
it really does, and it's from Oliphant Brewing. Oliphant is out of Somerset, Wisconsin, and so I went and bought some cups today. Unbeknownst to me, they have a little center
They're a
part of
little
them.
awkward.
Yeah, they are a little awkward. So, so you can pass those around.
I'm trying to
And we'll,
pour it without getting it in there.
Without getting it into the center cup.
and it's hard
Yeah.
to tell how much I'm pouring in there. So
Yeah. Fortunately, it's a 16-ounce can, so hopefully we have enough to go. Thank you.
yeah, I'll try
All
to.
right. And we're pouring one more than usual today. And now I don't know if Lilliana's going to break her rule because she's saying you're not supposed to have beers between the tequilas when you're doing the tasting. Now, Lilliana, the reason she knows about all these rules and stuff is because you are actually in training now, or about to be in
About
training,
to,
right?
yes.
To become a cazador. What does that mean?
Catador.
Catador. Sorry, I said it wrong.
A person who has a lot of experience tasting in the whole process, because
Right.
it's very strict, like
Right.
we were talking.
Right,
in
I
the
was going to
beginning.
say, to be certified as that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're actually just horrifying you today.
Yes.
Yeah. No, but this is, I started following this group. It's called Tequila Aficionado, which is
Okay.
what
Yeah.
I consider myself.
Right.
I by no means an expert because I still have so much to learn.
We're
And
going to call you
remember-
that anyway. But
Remember that during my years teaching at the medical school in Guadalajara, I would
Right.
go to tequila, so I know the process, the plantation,
Right.
the fabrication. But there's a whole lot more to learn. Even like the glasses that I was mentioning, is the whole science. So this group now has a course, and I already got the book, the exercises notebook, and my husband bought me a wonderful dictionary,
Ah,
but
see?
as a compliment, and I'm gonna get started.
So,
So,
what do you just obviously you study the
Mm-hmm.
terms and the terminology and the way it works, but do you also drink a lot of tequila?
Yes, you
Okay.
have to taste. Actually, the whole notebook is full with pages like this,
If
right? With
only-
more detail about everything, how the tequila looks like,
Yeah.
the different aromas, the taste, and then again, I think it's gonna be fascinating. But
I
you
think
know what?
so.
You know what?
You
It will
can't
be
just
my
write tequila good on each page.
Right.
but you know what? It will be my dream in this life
Yeah.
to become a maestra tequilera.
Okay.
Oh,
so what
there's
do you have to
only-
do to accomplish that?
Well, there's only 12 women in Mexico that
Right.
are designated as maestra, and that means spending time at every step of the way with the workers and the fields,
How
and
fun,
then
though.
the plantation, everything, transportation, and then in the distilleries, learning
Mm-hmm.
the whole process. Then in the laboratory where they do testings and the quality, everything. It's a fascinating thing, but I don't think I can get away from home for that long.
Well,
so.
we will miss you, but
No.
if it's for a good cause like that, we'll support it. We'll tell you what, if you do this, you let us know because we'll fly down and do a show from there, and you can show us how it all works.
I have another idea. Maybe someday when things get better, the pandemic is over, we will do a tour and I can take you down there. We'll go to Tequila. I'll take you to some of the distilleries I'm familiar with, and then, and we
I
go
love her
to.
ideas.
Yeah, let me think for just a minute. Yes.
I actually don't know how to say no to that.
Yeah, how would you? It sounds fantastic. So, all right, that gives us something to look forward to, and I'm actually looking forward to trying this Honey's Honeys.
When you walk into a brewery and you have that,
I've never done that.
I'm sure you have. If you've walked into a brewery, you smell that fresh cracked barley, that fresh barley smell. This has a lot of that and a little bit of sweetness behind it, which I'm assuming is the honey right on the nose. But
And
this
it's
smells
got
great.
Mondo peanut butter on the tongue. We've had a few.
See, and I didn't pick up the peanut butter as much on the nose.
Yeah, not on the nose, but on
man,
the tongue.
it's right
Boom.
there in the flavor.
We've had a number of beers throughout the course of the show that peanut butter has been one of their flavors or tasting. I don't know if we've ever had a more peanut buttery beer than this. And you can taste the honey. When I was a kid, my mom used to take. This shows you how white trash we were. My mom used to take peanut butter and mix in Caro syrup, and then she'd put it on toast. But it was delicious.
I bet.
Caro syrup. So this reminds me of that a little bit, except it's more of a honey thing. It's fantastic.
This is so peanut butter forward, but there's still such a bold malt backbone to this that I think
It's still definitely a beer.
really balances it out and makes it taste a little less candy.
Show us the can there, Ian, for Honey's Honeys.
This can is incredibly interesting. It's like a space creature with a weird skull, has rays coming out from his eyes,
It's a little demonic.
and he's apparently got his eye rays on
Yeah.
a peanut butter sandwich, I believe.
Maybe so. Yep, I think
It's,
that's right.
And there looks like a honeycomb in the background.
It's delicious.
Is
though.
the kitty cat safe? I see
I
a kitty cat in distress there.
Yeah, I think the kitty cat will be all right. I think he's after
Okay.
the peanut butter sandwich. So, it's just
Oh yeah, there we go.
it's not a beer you would like if you don't like peanut butter.
It's a one-eyed
Yeah.
cat, and it
Well.
says, and I'll quote,
that works. I bet it also says something about the Surgeon General in the warning to.
Dude, how do you know that?
It's
It
just
does say, according to Surgeon General. women
Yep.
should
See,
not drink
it's
alcoholic
a
beverages during
wild
pregnancy.
guess. So
I just remember something interesting. There is a Mexican drink, I don't know how they call it, but in some bars in Houston, they put a caballito, which is the slender tequila glass, inside a taller glass, and then they fill it up with tequila, and then they put a beer around
now,
it.
do they slam it before you drink it?
I don't know. I have never had it, but I've seen it.
I
So
was
I
at-
wonder if these glasses are made.
These are made for what they call them bombs, right?
Vegas bombs.
Yeah,
It's
Vegas
like,
bombs. Or,
like you make Vegas bombs, you make where you have two different drinks in there. You know, you can have a.
Well, I got that kind of accidentally. I was just looking for more cups for us for the show today, so that was what I wound up with. So we're using them
It's okay.
inappropriately.
We can use the outside ring for beer, and then we can use the little inside section for more beer.
Okay, that's a wonderful idea. Speaking of more, before this segment gets away from us, we need to do more tequila tasting. It's time for our next 4. So give yourself a little palate cleanser there, folks.
I
while we pass them over.
like that last beer okay enough. I don't know if I'm drinking a whole bunch of it all at once.
What a great one though for like a party to pass around and little cups
I
of
do
it.
love the
and-
pass around beers.
Yeah, that is definitely, I think, a pass around beer. That
I
would
think
be
what
my
you said
best
was
guess.
interesting, Cruze, because I don't like peanut butter, but
Right.
I loved that beer.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So
Well, that's just so you know, that's peanut butter and honey golden ale
Yeah.
brewed with honey and lactose with peanut butter flavor and caramel color.
it's awesome. I thought it's delicious. Now I agree. I wouldn't want to drink several of these in one sitting, but for a beer to taste, I think it's really interesting and fabulous.
I
you
never
know?
had anything like that.
Yeah, that's
before.
different. It's definitely different. As we prepare to taste this tequila, I haven't really asked, Brianna, you're not necessarily from the world of spirits and all of this, except when you're over at my house. But tell us a little bit about what's going on with you, because you're studying in a very interesting field.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. I would really like to know the distilling process for these.
Yeah.
Each one. I would say that probably. I don't think that it's weird for me because I know that Casa Noble is a really fine, tequila.
Yeah.
I think they have a really kind of crappy distilling process from what I'm tasting.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
from what I'm tasting, like how you're getting like that minerality
See,
and
she comes at this from the scientific background.
so,
'cause
like-
She's gonna science the shit out of this.
Right, yeah, she's basically an engineer. She's already been involved in designing the spacesuits that the astronauts wear. I'm not kidding. So this is somebody who knows what she's talking about. Now I don't know that much about the specific distilling process, but Brianna knows how to bring the math. That's what I'm saying. She knows how to bring the math. Well, let's try these and see what we think. This is Tequila A of batch number 2. Ooh.
I've been doing research.
The nose is
Sweet.
very interesting.
Yeah, it's very sweet on the nose. Big vanilla nose, if you ask me.
this is a vanilla bomb.
Wow. Wow. Almost like a snickerdoodle in there somehow. You know?
So I get a lot of like caramel and banana in there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
And maybe even a touch of cinnamon.
Lilliana, is this a less traditional tequila taste that we're getting out of this one?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's all of these are 100% agave, by the way. None of these are have got anything else mixed in. And so it's all about essentially what they've been finished in and how those barrels or casks have impacted the juice. But
Are there many in the tequila distilleries? Are there many different types of distills that they use? Because I know in the whiskey world that affects a lot of times affects the flavor.
Are you talking about the distillate or what they
I'm
rest
talking about
The rest.
what they actually distill it in.
in? Okay.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the kind of pot and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
the kind of pot, like whether you use a pot still or different stills like that.
Yeah, it varies. There are some distilleries that are sophisticated and everything is fancy and huge.
Well,
and-
like for instance, Willits uses a very tall still, and
Right,
there's
right.
so
yeah,
variations.
there's a lot of variation in
Yeah.
the distilleries, but also there is a variation in the barrels that they use.
Right.
And also it affects, let's say, a barrel. Okay, a lot of them have been used to store wines and whiskeys before.
Right.
But then the other thing is how many times have they been used? It comes a time when there's no influence from the oak barrel anymore, right?
Right,
But,
because all of the juice, if you will, has already been drained out of the wood and
Yeah.
into the spirit. So
But this one is I don't think I ever had this one before.
very
It's
interesting.
very distinctive.
Going to be interesting to see what that one is. All right, let's move to Tequila B. And by the way, big thanks to Adam for doing this because it's not an easy thing to keep these all organized, to do all of these very small pours, and to hand them to me without me spilling them. So. It's all very important. If you can help pass those
Thanks,
around.
honey. We
Lilliana.
appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So here is Tequila B for our second tequila segment.
This is very opposite on the nose.
Yes, I'm not getting nearly as much on the nose on
I
this.
know.
It's not even that. It's not that much. It's just smells a lot more traditional to me. Maybe traditional is not the right word, but it's more like what I expect.
More like the tequila flavor that you expect, and I think it delivers that on the tongue as well.
Have you done the two sides of the nose, like they recommend? Like you do it here and then.
No, see, I didn't even know they recommend that. That's how. This is why she wants to tell us that she's not an expert.
And then she
But
drops facts.
I'm not buying it at all. I'm not buying it at
Just
all.
a funny nose fact,
Yeah.
if you will. You'll notice at any given time one nostril is always a little less free flowing than the other one, and then that changes after a few hours all day long.
Or if you turn your head from one side to the other.
And they also recommend that you have your mouth slightly open so that it can also go through your mouth to the back of the.
And that I think would be true for tasting really
Wow.
any spirit.
That was a different tasting profile since
Yes,
I did that.
for sure.
Completely different.
I like this one. It is much more of what I would say is a traditional tequila taste. A little more agave forward, a little less of the. And again, it's also, that's the other thing about tequila. It's why this is such an interesting way to go, is because some people probably prefer different flavors from what other people. In other words, some people may I particularly enjoy things that are very oaky, have a strong vanilla profile, and even the mapleness. But other people I know that are tequila fans really are looking for that purity of the agave in the flavor. So it's just different strokes, I guess. But
some people like a little salt and a little lime with it.
yes, and I don't hang out with those people.
We will not
who
harm
needs
any
training
salt
wheels
or
these
lime
days?
in this production.
No
today.
salt or lime will be harmed at any time during today's production. All right, Adam, is this our next one here?
Yes.
All right, very good. Here comes Tequila C. And we are doing nice small pours on these, which is definitely
This one is
Definitely. I
a
have
much lighter color.
I have a
Yes.
question for Lilliana.
Okay.
yes.
How long would you say you should let the tequila sit in your mouth before you swallow? Is there any kind of thing?
No,
Because
I
I've
don't
heard with
think
like whiskey
so.
or bourbon, like you hold it for maybe 2 to 5 seconds just to let it sit and then
I
swallow.
will say that, but
Okay.
then there's so many variations. Like some people recommend you first swallow a little bit,
Right.
and then you do the
I was gonna say-
appreciation.
And
then,
I would almost agree with that, because a lot of times when it's just on the tongue, I'm not getting that much for that first swallow. But then once you taste the swallow, you get the finish. Then you get more flavor on the tongue in the second sip.
yeah, but
So-
Adam, it's just a few seconds. And also the portions that they use for the tastings
Right.
varies a little bit. Some people recommend half an ounce, which I think to me is a lot. Other people recommend 40 milliliters, which I measure it in a measuring cup, and it's about a quarter of a cup.
I will say that I generally recommend, no more than half a bottle when I'm doing tastings. So, because it's important to be sure, is what I'm getting at. So, so this is very interesting. I really like this, but I like it in a very different way than the others.
This is, you said a while ago, this tastes more like a traditional tequila. This
Right.
one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. The B and C are both a more traditional tequila taste. So, very interesting.
I want to pair
Okay.
this one with a cigar.
Oh, doesn't it seem like that'd be a
Like
great
this
idea?
one just seems like the flavor profile, and it has some subtleties to it that
Mm-hmm.
that actually I don't think we've come across yet. That really kind of stand out. In
All right, here comes tequila numero cuatro.
Okay, clean your palates.
Or actually, no, it's not cuatro, it's D. What's D in Spanish?
D,
The letter D?
D.
D. Okay.
La letra D.
La letra D. I don't remember my letters. I know my numbers, but I don't remember my letters very well. Yeah. It wasn't that important when I was working in the fields after high school, because that's where I learned most of my Spanish was with migrant workers in the field. So we didn't talk too much about the letters of the alphabet, but we learned about how to say important things like when's lunch and
Where's the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom? Exactly.
That's a very important one.
And of course, I learned a lot of words that would probably not be appropriate to share
Yeah.
here.
Well,
program.
my mother's first word she learned in English was beer. And
I love
she,
that.
I
That's
know
so
she
cute.
passed last year. I miss her a lot.
Oh.
She always had 2 beers for lunch, 2 beers for dinner.
Wow.
And you know what they say? As we age, we become our parents.
Yeah.
I am having now 2
beers
beers
for
for lunch and 2 beers for dinner.
You told it. I think it was a St. Arnold Amber that you were.
Yeah, that's my
enjoying quite
favorite.
often.
Yeah, I get a cage
That's a
from
good
Total
beer.
Wine once a week.
That's a good beer.
Nice.
All right. I'm getting more agave on the nose on this one.
This
Maybe that's just me.
and I hope I don't ruin anyone's tasting notes with this statement, but this smells like agave and cookies and cream.
I was getting more vanilla
Wow.
than cookies and cream.
Wow, but I get
can see
both.
that.
I get where both of you are going there. Man, you know what I hate is that we're gonna have to pick our 3 favorites. That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be really hard. Okay.
I know.
All right. I get your cookies and cream, Ian. I do get that. But there is a definite vanilla vibe, which is kind of part of the same flavor. I think it's just maybe two different ways to identify it.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. All right. I am super curious for the reveal on these, Adam. So let's find out what we're tasting. Tequila A.
Socorro.
Socorro. Are you familiar with this one, Lilliana?
No, that's again. There's so many brands
There
now.
are
that
now, aren't they?
It's overwhelming.
Ian, let me hand you this one so you can show that to the camera. And I'll just say, I don't want to give away my my rankings here, but I'll just say I am thrilled that there's as much left in that bottle as there is. Socorro. All right.
And that was
That was Tequila A.
tequila. A.
Socorro.
Socorro.
I can maybe roll my R's if I don't put it in the middle of a word.
I can do it, but I always feel like I sound like a geeky white guy trying to be too linguistically
Trendy.
accurate. Yeah, too trendy, right? Yeah, because there's nothing. And I always remember when I was growing up, there was this reporter on television. If I'm not mistaken, her name was Jessica Villarreal, and she rolled her R's so severely that it was almost like comical. She'd be like, reporting live from the scene of the crime, Jessica Villarreal. Right? It was like, you would wait for it because it was so funny. It was like, okay, Jessica, we get it. You can roll your R's. We get it. We get it. Tequila C.
Or
B.
B.
I'm sorry, B. We just did the first one. This is Tequila B.
Azuña.
Azuña. This is an Azuña Anejo. It's state crafted. We actually had this one on the show, Ian, I think too terribly
We
long
need
ago.
the NOM, please. That's another unknown brand I never seen.
Mm-hmm. There's so many brands out today.
1426.
1426. Ian, show that one to the camera. That is Tequila B.
What database do you use to access that information?
Well, I get the Academy of Tequila provides that, but also through my membership now to Tequila Aficionado, we get the latest NOMs, the Norma Oficial Mexicana. Each tequila has a 4-digit number.
We know the coolest
and then you
people,
can
Ian.
learn about the distillery and all that, who makes
That's
it.
so cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And then I'm like,
Little
where is
Ian
this
is just creeping up from various shots in the camera. That's what we have to call him, is Little Ian. All right, let's go Tequila C.
El Tesoro.
El Tesoro, the Añejo. This one we had on the show quite some time back. You're familiar with El Tesoro? All right, Ian, let's show that one to the camera. Just want to make sure everybody gets a feel for what these look like. And, all right, so that brings us to Tequila D.
Mi Agave.
Mi Agave. Okay, now that makes sense to me because I do remember us having this on the show, and I remember it having that kind of a flavor profile. Is that a new one to you, Lilliana?
Yeah.
All right. So
And
she's
look at the
gonna
buzzword now. Estate.
Oh yes, that is a buzzword,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
State bottle.
State bottle.
Bottle,
Okay.
organic,
1438.
gluten free. You name it, now they're out there.
Yeah, of course. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means. So, gentlemen and ladies, let's see how you ranked them. Let's start with you, Lilliana. What was your 4, 3, 2, 1?
My top of the list was Mi Agave.
Top of the list
Yeah.
was Mi Agave. Okay,
I
and that
love
was,
the traditional tequila flavor.
and that was number 4, right? That was
Yeah,
Tequila
that was
D,
number
right?
1 for
That
me.
was Tequila. Okay, so that was your number 1.
And I'm sorry again to have a tie, but B and C, I gave them, the
Roughly
same.
the same, okay.
And then the one I didn't like that much was Socorro. Because I just can't
That was
have something that is so sweet.
that was Tequila A.
Yeah,
Okay.
that taste.
All right.
It was like vanilla,
Okay.
drinking vanilla.
Brianna, how about you?
All right, so my number 1 was C.
C, which was C. Remember, was
El
the El
Tesoro.
Tesoro? El Tesoro. Okay.
My number 2 was A.
Which was
Socorro.
the
The
Socorro.
Socorro.
Yep.
My number 3 was D,
Mi
which is
agave.
the Mi
It's the Mi
Agave.
Agave, yep.
And my number 4 was B.
Was B, and B again
Azuna.
was the
Azuna.
Azuna. Okay. Ian.
So we are now by the way, 2 for 2 on our favorites. So my favorite was the Llave out of all those. Going to number 2, second favorite was the Tesoro. Third favorite was the Sicaro, and fourth least favorite was Azuna.
Okay. So Azuna was a C. So you were D.
Azuna was B.
D, C, A, B.
Okay. And I'm going to be different from all of you, I think. My favorite, and this is beginning to bother me now, because for the first 2 of these, my favorite has been last for Lilliana, who's the only one of us who really knows anything about tequila, right?
Please.
No,
What she's trying to tell you is you should just take the beer and dump it upside down in your
right
in your
in the glass and call it a day. Yeah. My favorite was Tequila A. I loved that. That was and that was the Socorro,
That's the
right?
Socorro, yeah.
That was my favorite. My second favorite was the Llave, the Tequila D,
yes.
with that strong chocolate vibe, was very, very good. And then after that, for me, probably Tequila B would be number 3. Azuna, and El Tesoro for me was number 4. So this is what's so interesting, is when you get 4 different palettes in the room, you really do get 4 different results. So,
And this is why, when I have given presentations and people ask me, what is the best tequila? They always ask me that, and I say, the one that you like the best.
yeah. And I will say, I left out what I think is the best tequila I've ever tasted. I purposely left it out, which is the Jose Cuervo
Reserva de la Familia.
Yeah, that's just.
That's
I was
pretty
afraid it was so
amazing.
good it would just like make everything else seem like it was, gunning for second place. So I thought we'd leave that one out this time. But yeah, that's when it's special occasion at our house, something happens to celebrate. That's the one that we break out.
I was actually hoping it would find its way into this
yes.
tasting.
Oh, now I
You've been
know.
at the house when we've had those
Yeah.
celebratory
Now I
ones.
know
Turn it
what
into
to
my
give
favorite.
you. Now I know what to give you for Christmas.
Oh yeah, listen. That's a hell of a gift, because every time I go into Specs, it's $10 more than it was the last
Right.
time I was
So
there. Which, by the way, so is Skelly. The first bottle of Skelly Anejo that I bought, I want to say was
35. It was right below 40, wasn't it?
it was more like $29.
Oh, really?
And it's 55 now. Like that has really gone almost doubled in price, and it's
It's an oddly good tequila in
It
a
really is.
bizarre bottle.
and completely different. And like
kind of a corny bottle.
Like I've said before, I avoided it forever because I thought the bottle was so interesting and gimmicky. Even though I love Day of the Dead stuff, it was so interesting and gimmicky. I thought, the tequila's probably not very good. And
Did
boy,
you
was
make
I
that
wrong.
mistake and buy the skull?
Yes, and actually, so the skull was the reason I didn't go for the, because I'd done that. I bought that and I was like, not really that good.
Skelly's
All right, this is
fantastic.
very interesting. We're halfway through our 16, and so that means there's more tequila to come, plus drinking news. We'll take a break, and we will be right back. This, my friends, is Smoking and Toasting. Yeah. Oh, yeah, only halfway through. Ask little Ian to drive you home. Welcome back. It's Smokin' and Toastin', and we are proud to be coming to you live from our studios in Houston, Texas. Heard all over the world on fine internet devices like yours. Thank you very much for checking us out. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are brought to you by mycigarshirts.com. Check them out on the web, mycigarshirts.com, because... Cigars, yes. All right, so we've been tasting tequilas. We're halfway done with our tasting here, and it's pretty exciting. So let's do another quick tasting here, and then in the next segment we'll do drinking news and throw back some beers and our final round of tequila. So here we go.
Final round of Tequila Palooza.
Yeah, here we go.
Tequila
Adam
Palooza, I love
has been busy pouring.
I love doing that because I know when you put Palooza on the back of something, it really
It's
irritates
just
me.
like-
It does irritate me. Well, Lollapalooza was a great. It was a wonderful festival idea. Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction and several other interesting musicians got together and did that. And then every, five
everything
and
was
dime
a
store
palooza.
would do the Sailor-Palooza. Come on, guys. Be a little more original than that, won't you please? Oh, Lilliana, I'm so sorry. I
Party
spilled
foul
some of
number
your
one.
tequila. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know it would happen this soon. So, all right, here we go. Tequila A from batch number 3. Ooh.
Yeah, this has a big.
In
I
synchronicity.
swear to God, Brianna, you and I are so in tune when it comes
I
to this
know.
stuff. That's why we've become such good tequila drinking buddies, because I'll taste one and it's the first thing I'll say to my wife, I can't wait for Brianna to taste this. She's gonna love it, So this one, I will say, on the nose reminds me more of a whiskey or a bourbon
I put
than
rich whiskey down right
yeah,
now.
than some of the others.
First thing.
And it may well have been, I don't know which one this is, but it may well have been matured in bourbon casks. That could be part of the reason for that. But it's a wonderful, wonderful flavor on the nose.
You know, the original barrels were all from France. But now they're getting
Now they come from
Mexico.
almost all over the place, yeah.
Even from Napa.
This is very different. Yeah, right, because there's a lot of wine barrels from Napa that are making their way. This is delicious. It's very different from the other tequilas.
This is a
we've
lot
tried.
more
Oh, wow.
delicate than the nose would have you believe.
Great
Right,
taste.
from the nose, you're kind of expecting
I was
a
nervous.
real bomb here, yeah, like a real, heavy duty.
I was like, am I going to get a tequila
spirit
hug?
bomb. Exactly, but it's actually incredibly smooth.
And delicious.
It is delicious. I like this very much. Okay, well, can I just pat myself on the back here for having the idea to do this show?
You need to pat
Oh,
yourself
yeah,
on
I
the
do.
back for having this particular.
I think we're all enjoying that.
Right,
That's-
and thank you for calling me the other day and asking me to join.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we all seem to have liked that one. Let's move to tequila number B in our segment here. So you go, Lilliana, and one more. And there's no way to do this except for passing them around. So one day we'll get a tequila dispenser where we just hold out our cup and it automatically fills it.
And we'll just get like a tequila hookah where
Yeah,
it pours it down the middle. And
Yeah,
we'll
and
have
it all comes out
straw.
into each straw. Yeah. So I will say,
you know those big glasses they give you at the dueling piano bars where musicians' souls go to die. You
Yes.
Put a whole bunch of straws in it.
I smell caramel.
yes, I got
Oh,
caramel
yes.
and agave on the nose. Wow, this is I like this one too.
Me too. It smells so good.
Man, oh man.
This one smells better than the first one for sure.
You know, if I were to sum up this show so far in a phrase that roughly will sort of, encapsulate things that I've learned from Ian, it would be tequila good.
Tequila good.
Yeah.
I try to cut straight to the chase of things.
This is smoky.
I appreciate that about you. It is smoky, but not in a mezcal kind of smoky way.
But a little dry, though. A little dry.
That's freaking delicious is what that is. Oh. Okay.
Oh, lingery aftertaste on it.
Yes, very much so.
I'm like, did you pick any bad tequilas to try to prank us, Cruze?
li-
Like, what?
listen,
What's happening here?
They all came
One
from
of
my
these
bar.
is going to
except-
be one of these is going to be Malort, isn't it?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome if it was?
He might have as many tequilas as I have.
I don't know about
but
that.
let me tell you the difference. In my tequila shrine, all the bottles are closed. In his, they're all open.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons I like getting into cigars and to spirits is because you collect them, but they don't collect forever. Eventually, you burn them or drink them, and it's not like having, Beanie Babies or something that just start stacking up. You know what I mean?
And I
Those
learned, well, let me tell you, I learned the hard way that if you don't drink them, they
we talked about that.
evaporate.
Yeah, eventually
yeah.
they
So,
become
yeah,
not
It's
as good.
alcohol,
Yeah, I
especially if you
know.
don't keep them in a dark area.
all right.
They're not like wines that are completely sealed. So
I dug number B, but let's move to tequila C.
Especially if you don't keep them in a dark area. Lilliana, it sounds like I need to come over and hang out.
You guys
Explore
would
your
be,
collection.
I have a feeling you guys would be dangerous. Brianna would be like, "Why isn't this one open? Why isn't this one open?"
So I can't do what you do with my whiskeys because my wife, like, Let me put it this way: she can't leave something new unopened.
Yeah, she wants to open it up. Yeah.
If we get dish soap before we're done with the last one,
She'll
I'll
open
have
the new
2
one.
bottles of dish soap. Like
My wife's that way with toothpaste. She's never
like-
finished a tube of toothpaste in her life. Yeah.
I can
maybe
attest for
maybe
that.
someday they will be worth a lot of money. Let me tell you, my husband went to get me the bottle that I brought as specs, and he saw a bottle of whiskey. I think it's, I don't know, 30 years old for $35,000.
Oh, wow.
It's being sold.
I
Can
don't-
you imagine?
I don't think that holds for toothpaste, though. I think that right now in my bathroom drawer, I have 1 full thing of Crest and 4 like almost dead ones.
I have to, like, if I bring something home that I don't want to open, I have to specifically say, "Do not open this one," and I'll see her eyes straying towards it from time to time.
I will just say that one of the things I try to do whenever I bring a spirit home that we're going to have on the show is I try to make sure that Ian doesn't have to go through that process of removing the cellophane from the top, which can sometimes take a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah,
I don't want him
cut
to have
through
to
all that
stress
for
with
me.
that. Yeah. So here's another tequila I just absolutely love. What is this?
amazing.
It's amazing. Mm.
Yeah.
What did you detect in the
In this one,
aroma? Yeah.
I didn't get as much on the nose,
No.
but on the palate, it's very oaky, some chocolate,
Smooth.
Very
Very
smooth.
smooth.
This show is reminding me how much I love tequila.
Right?
Okay, I'm digging that. As my buddy Pat would say, I'm digging that killer big time. That's just absolutely wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna have a
This
hard
is going to
time.
be
I know,
I'm
this
gonna have a
is-
hard
this
time
one's
with
gonna
this
be
with this
difficult.
tasting. Yeah,
This is gonna be
hopefully-
hard.
Adam, please give us a sucky tequila.
Or we're
this is
just-
so
We're just
I wanna
liking
drop
them
to the
more
bottom.
and more because
Well, that could be.
Where's the Jose Cuervo Blanco? We gotta mix it up here.
Oh, that could be. That could be.
No blancos here.
No, not
How come I don't
today.
see, why don't I see any worms on the bottom of these?
Yeah, no worms. Somebody asked me that the other day. What's the mezcal with the worm in the bottom? I'm like, I don't even remember.
Who cares?
Yeah, right.
I can tell you. You know I love history.
Yes, well, right, because there is history here.
Yeah, it gives that authenticity because the agaves are they have parasites from moths. They lay their eggs there on the tip of the leaves and also on the roots, and those are moths or butterflies. So the worms on the tip are white, and the ones from the root are red. And they're a delicacy, actually. They also are sold in
No, they were a
Oaxaca.
delicacy.
In
Right,
tacos.
neither.
Yes.
All I know is that they
I
died
had no
happy.
idea.
That's all I know. They died happy.
Well, thank you for giving me the time.
No, I'm
to
glad
tell
you said that because the only time I've ever tasted it was, from what I remember, in bad tequila. But just-
No,
Me too.
tequila has never had a worm.
right,
Only
right.
mezcal.
It's only mezcal with it. They'll have a
Okay,
worm.
maybe
so.
that was it.
Okay, so this is interesting. Much more agave forward. Not very much a different profile than the first 3.
I'm not loving the nose smell.
The nose is weird.
It's really weird. I wouldn't even think it's a tequila.
It's very peppery, but there's another flavor in there I can't
It's
quite
got a
identify.
pungent kind of thing going on.
And remember that a lot of new companies and everything, I don't know if they take shortcuts or they might not follow the whole process. And we have to, keep an eye on that.
I feel like I would be really interested in seeing the distilling process
Yes.
for tequila.
We'll
'Cause
I'll
I learn
organize
about-
a tour.
Yeah, because I'm learning about that in school right now.
I'm going
about
with her. Whenever
distilling.
she goes, that's when I want to go.
And just like the details behind it, what exactly are they trying to extract? What are they putting in it to absorb within to get those flavor profiles that you guys are tasting?
Okay,
Like,
let
all
me just
that.
stop you for a second. You're studying mathematics and engineering. When did distilling become a part of your studies?
Chemical engineering.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Chemical
right. Okay,
engineers,
okay, I
we
get
run
it, right.
power plants. I mean,
Okay,
we
all right,
work
yep,
in oil and gas, and I
gotcha.
learned. Yep.
Did you raise your hand and go, excuse me, when do we get to the tequila part? That's what I would be doing.
We're in
What's
Zoom
your-
University, so
what's
no
your-
raising
yeah,
hands.
You just put on the cat filter and call it a day, right? Ian, what's your take on this one?
It's a very pungent nose. I get a lot of like a saltwater tang from it.
Mm-hmm.
You finally define it. I couldn't.
It is a saltwater tang.
It took me a minute to figure out what it was, but it's a saltwater kind of tang. Like
it's a little Galveston-y.
you know, like yeah, when you're near the ocean, you get that saltwater kind of tang in your palate because it's just in the air. It very much has that. I'm not entirely sure that I like it.
Yeah, but it's
but
different.
It's interesting.
Ian, let's start with you. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's see. I haven't even done that yet. I'm gonna go with 4 is D.
The one that we just tried, the
Yeah.
Galveston-y one.
3 is B.
Okay.
And then 2 and 1 are tough for me because I really, really like both of those. But I think I'm gonna go C for 2. And
A for
1
one.
is A.
All right. What about you, Lilliana?
Okay, I got A as my number 1.
A is your number 1.
We've
Okay.
agreed on every one
My
of
number
these.
2 is B.
Number 2 is B. So just
And
slightly
then
different.
C was the number 3, and the least one I like was the
Was
last one, D.
Okay. Very good. Brianna.
Yeah, so my number 1 was C. My number 2 was A. My number 3 was B. And my number 4 was D.
So now you're saying, yeah, okay, right. C was your favorite. D was your least favorite
Yes.
of the bunch. Mine is exactly the same as Brianna's.
Wow.
We're just
What's the
right
shocker?
in sync. Yeah,
What's
no
the shocker
surprise here.
here?
Yeah, my least favorite was D, although I would love to try it in a setting where we weren't doing all the other tastings and see what it was like just on its own, you know?
Can't get rid of the salt water aftertaste.
Right, and then B, was terrific. B would have been number 1 in some of the other groupings, I think.
B and A for me were. Or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, C and A for me were very tough.
Yeah.
Me too.
But
we had our switch.
C was just fantastic. So it's my number 1, and A was too. So all right, we all seem to like A. Adam, what was bottle A?
Of
Interesting.
course, Patron.
Yes. Patron
Yeah, I should have known.
Añejo.
Stop.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed. I've spent many nights at home enjoying this one.
I have about half a bottle of that left at my
not
house.
at all surprised. Just in case anyone doesn't know what that looks like, Ian. And by the way, Patron makes great tequila just in general, and their silver is great for margaritas. But if you are looking to sip a tequila, do not overlook their añejo because it is really fantastic.
I
Why do
would
we
have
have a
never
B
picked that
on
to
there? Do
drink
we know?
and
Yeah.
buy and sip on. I
But
usually
it's
like
totally
steer
worth
away
it.
from the Patrons,
No,
actually.
I get it, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. So, okay, great
that was
stuff.
super
They
good.
have good stuff.
All right, that
They
was
do.
good. So that was tequila A. What was tequila B?
Frida.
Frida. Oh, I love this tequila.
Not
This
surprised I
is,
love that.
This has been in my bar for a long time, and I've had to actually force myself to leave this little bit in the bottom so that we could have it on today's show.
Can I get the NOM?
Yeah.
On the
please.
Frito?
And by the way, just in case
1465.
just in case you haven't watched the movie about Frida, you need to watch it for 2 reasons. Number 1, she was a remarkable woman. Number 2, Salma Hayek. Need I say more? Salma Hayek is amazing.
No, the other important thing to do is to go to Casa Azul, which was her house in
Right,
Mexico
right.
City, and now it's a
Have you been
beautiful.
there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so
I would
wonderful.
love to see it. I would
yes.
love to see it.
And
was
she had a beautiful cactus garden that the government has kept very nicely.
Oh, that's very cool.
that's
She was an amazing woman, and she never sang "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," which I will regard as a check mark in her favor as well. All right, Tequila C. Brianna and I both picked this as our favorite.
I think this
Wow.
El Amo.
El Amo. This is so interesting because I've had for a while there was a promotion going on with this at Specs, and you would buy it in the box and it would have the little baby tequila next to it.
Yeah.
And I bought a number of these, and I will say that the El Amo Reposado is my go-to for margaritas. And one of the reasons is because you can get it very inexpensively in the big container, and I like a pretty heavy hand when I make margaritas, and it's really quite good.
That's a beautiful presentation. And
It
look
is,
at
isn't
the
it?
little
It's got the little
agave.
agave on the front. Ian,
Yeah,
show that to
and
the camera. Well,
I don't think I have seen it before too.
don't know if I would have
It
guessed it
has-
would rank this high.
It
but-
has
You know
an
what,
agave dongle.
El amo means?
Amo
like
is
el patrón,
is,
the
right.
owner,
Right,
the
right.
boss,
Right.
el amo,
El jefe.
the owner of,
Yeah.
all that.
All right, wow. So Tequila D was not as highly rated. In fact, did we all pick D as our fourth choice?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we did,
we
so-
did.
So D was. Oh, that is so interesting.
We had
because
that
we
before.
loved this. We had
Yeah.
this when you were on the show before, right?
What in the
Yeah.
world?
So this is one of the more unique. Again, we loved this when we had it on the show.
I think we like the presentation.
I think
I've
maybe
never
we
seen
were.
Sometimes we drink with our eyes.
We were maybe swayed by the
this
presentation
is
because I have
called-
been loving that.
Tequila Torero.
Tequila Torero, yes.
I've never have I had this with you guys? I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
sure you have because.
How cool is that
Yeah.
bottle?
Oh,
It's so cool.
just a
No matter what.
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But again, that's something we need to warn the consumers
art.
about.
Well, that's right.
Don't
Don't
get
be swayed by- right.
the
That-
or by the celebrity that is
Right,
endorsing
right.
certain
Look
tequilas
at that
and
bottle.
paying $200 for a bottle that
Right,
is worth
exactly.
35.
That's
What does a
absolutely
bottle
right.
of this go for?
I think it was around $48.
We liked it last time. We weren't trying it next to a whole bunch of
Right.
other tequilas at the same time, and that can help sometimes too. But I would say, if you're gonna buy one for the bottle,
That's a good one to buy.
this is
Yeah.
a pretty awesome one.
For decoration,
For
but
the bottle.
also look at the volume. Don't you get less?
I think it's
For
the
both,
same.
yeah.
I think
The
it's
same?
I think they.
It's
I think
not.
it's 750 milliliters. It's a
mil,
lot
right?
wider. Yeah, it should say on there, but I think
Yeah, it
so.
says net content 750 mil.
Yeah, so it's the same
Wow.
as one of these other bottles. It just looks a little different. All right, very interesting segment. We have more tequilas to taste and a couple of beers, and we got drinking news, so we got a lot to do before the show is over. Stay with us at Smokin' and Toastin'.
I'm having a tequila crowding problem over here.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, but you
we will continue. Welcome back. It's Smokin' and Toastin', the show where Ian is getting crowded by bottles of tequila.
Not the worst problem I've had.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. Welcome back. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Today we are definitely about tequila as we do our tequila blind taste test. And our special guests are Brianna Andrus, and I almost called you Brianna Adams.
I know.
Your,
It's been almost
maiden
3
name.
years.
But you've been married for almost 3 years.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty exciting.
flies.
And of course, Lilliana Rodriguez is here with us, our resident tequila expert, which we're going to keep calling her anyway until she refuses to come on because she tries to claim that she's not a tequila expert. And I'm like, duh, come on. You're an expert. Come on. Let's do this. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for something that I don't think we were doing this the last time you were on, Lilliana, but it's become a sort of a, sort of a popular segment on the program. We
A
call
runaway fan favorite.
it Drinking News.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When I asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Today's drinking news is not, unfortunately, a Florida man story, although we have plenty of those for drinking news. But as Ian pours our beers and we continue to drink, let me tell you about a British man. And by the way, we on drinking news, we feature stories that we believe to be true. They were printed somewhere that
Got a
seems
story
to be
and I swear it's
right.
true.
Seems to be a somewhat reputable site that we get, that we get these from. So we get them
Yes,
from
the
all over.
Weekly World
Yeah,
News.
no, see, that's the thing. This is not about President Biden visited by an alien. No, it's not that. What we're doing is stuff that appears somewhere legitimate. It may or may not be a story about drinking, but it's usually a story that's best enjoyed when you have been drinking. So, a British man who wanted to give his friend a birthday he'd never forget
one for Adam.
ordered something custom built for him that may be one of the greatest birthday pranks ever. The order was put through the steel fabricator Latham Steel Doors, who admitted that it was one of the weirdest requests they'd ever received. The workshop said that after confirming that there were no bad intentions behind the prank, they decided to satisfy the request as it would cheer up the staff and the birthday boy, after the past year of lockdown. Plus, business has been slow because of the pandemic, and quite frankly, they needed the work. The birthday gift in question, and you can go ahead and put the photo up, Adam. The birthday gift in question was a custom-built steel 7-foot tall penis. 7 foot tall. The customer's specifications for the designers made the whole order even more interesting. They said the order must be as follows: at least 7 feet tall and delivered outside the house surreptitiously to ensure maximum visibility and embarrassment. Self-standing, these are still the orders, self-standing and thick enough to make it difficult to get rid of, welded to make it difficult to take apart, and engraved with a happy birthday message. Wrapped with enough polystyrene balls so that when opened, they'd have to clean up that too, and galvanized so they could keep it in their garden if they wanted to. This is a true story. No word so far on whether the 7-foot-long ding-dong has taken up permanent resident in the birthday boy's garden, but you got to admit, it would at least scare away the birds.
Man, that's kind of a dick move.
I hope you guys saw the picture.
I did.
Please.
Wow.
Drinking news, drinking news. That was time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. I don't make these stories up, by the way.
But here's the thing. So nothing surprises me, but I will tell you the most classic drinking news story was the guy with the penis growing out of his arm.
Yeah, still hasn't been one better than that, has there?
And apparently, when it comes to these stories, penises are just funny.
There's something about it. Remember the guy in the airplane that kept flying around and making a penis shape with his flight pattern, just to mess with air traffic controllers. Yeah,
it's the crudest form of humor,
but there's something about the penis that's funny in a way that other sexual organs are not.
There is a cactus plant that is called the penis cactus.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have it in my collection, but there is.
Well, and she's a cactus expert as well, so we know that she would know these
I'm a
things.
cactus enthusiast.
Okay, enthusiast, aficionado, expert. I'm just going to go there. Ian, what you poured us here is something special from St. Arnold. It's one of their limited releases, and it is a pretty interesting beer. Why don't you tell us what the bottle says?
Diving into darkness, you can get insight into your potential, allow the absence of light, and truly find what it means to have it. With commitment, we pushed our limits. We start by brewing an immense, rich Imperial Stout with massive amounts of flavor and aromatic qualities. After fermentation, the beer rests for 3 months before a tasteful amount of Madagascar vanilla beans is added for an extra layer of complexity. This beer is ridiculous.
In the best possible
In
way.
absolutely every possible way.
Yeah.
First off, the nose on it will assault you in fantastic ways.
Will hit you in the head.
Yes, it pretty much does hit you over the head, right off the bat. There's a smokiness.
It's very smoky, yes.
To this. There's I want to just pour this over barbecue.
It feels like it would be a great thing to marinate in.
Yeah, it's not sweet like a barbecue sauce, but it does have some sweetness. It also has a dryness to the finish, and
use it for some ribs.
The vanilla, hint of vanilla is like it's more than a hint. It's also 13.4%.
13.4, yeah, so I knew you would like this. So, there's a little bit of maybe homerishness in this for me, but, I'm so proud that this was brewed, right where we live. This is...
Yes.
You often hear about some of the brands, the beer brands that, if you're a beer geek like I am, that are associated with doing these kinds of brews, and, many of them are in Oregon and Washington State.
Try getting your hands on Pliny the Elder and things like that.
But, man, for a beer this amazing to be brewed right across the street.
I have to assume that, as many beer geeks as we all know that, go search out beers that you can't get here, I have to assume that people really, really try to to search out these St. Arnold beers in other states.
I sure hope so, because we feature a number of them because we're proud to be here in the same city as St. Arnold. Well, I will tell you this: if you're somebody, I'm still waiting to get my hands on a fresh Pliny the Elder. So if they have it where you are, I'll send you some of this if you'll send me a couple of bottles of Pliny.
That's a deal.
Yeah, just figure it out because we will do it. It's absolutely good. All right, this is, by the way, still available. I was just in Specs yesterday, and this is still on the shelf, though I think only for a limited time. So if you are in the Texas area, you may still be able to find it.
It also has like a dark cherry sour almost to the very finish of it as well. What do you think of this?
It's a little too rich for me.
It's a little
I don't
rich,
think
yeah.
I could get two, but one. It
Sure.
tastes great.
Yeah,
Now,
I was going to say, this isn't two of them for lunch type of a beer.
I have a friend, Bobby Gonzalez. He's watching us, and he has a tank at San Arnold's named after him.
Oh.
Gonzo.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. One of the
Yeah.
tanks at St. Arnold?
Yeah, Gonzo.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. It just still reminds me of my favorite Cheers episode where George becomes the beer taster and his first day at work. He walks out with the lab coat up to one of the tanks and just hugs it. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. It's tequila time. Do a little palate cleanse because that was a pretty big beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That beer was great. I would have that with a brownie with dessert.
It almost feels like it has a
I
brownie.
was going to mention, I've had that beer a few times before, and I think the last one that I had was with a Fernandez Ruination.
Oh, I bet that was good.
And because I picked out the cigar and I thought, what am I going to drink
What
with
will go with this? Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and just
Wow.
for if you don't know a lot about cigars, the AJ Fernandez Ruination is big.
It's
it is
named Ruination for
Yeah,
a reason.
it's like
yeah.
if a regular cigar is a pencil, this is a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sure. Yeah, it's for
Magnitudes.
real. It is for real. All right, this is
Okay.
going to be our final round of 4 tequilas, and this is tequila A. Oh, I just did something that really illustrates something interesting if you are trying something on the nose. I went up to this and put my nose in it, and I took a big sip or a big sniff, and I wasn't getting much. And then I remembered that I didn't have my mouth open.
Yeah.
So I
you have
opened
to.
my mouth and did it again, and boom! Here came the aromas and the flavors. So definitely some agave, a little bit of sweetness on the nose. Ooh, and there it is. Almost reminds me of a rum in some ways. It's got a little of that.
Especially the smell and the
Yeah,
taste,
yeah.
like the way those profiles
A
work
little
together.
of that, right? Almost like not sugar sweetness, but almost like sugar cane sweetness.
Yeah.
If there's a difference, I get a little bit of that on the palate.
I
Some
actually
vanilla.
just wrote down right while you were saying that. I put sweet raw sugar kind of finish.
And you could even see like the viscosity of
Right.
it is a
You can see
little
it clinging to the glass a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
See,
a
that's
little
something
thicker.
we didn't do. We should,
Right,
but,
let's
and
talk
we
about
didn't
thick.
have time. But yeah.
the viscosity in here is thicker, so I can
Yeah.
tell
All
that
right.
it's
So should I have gone with less tequilas? Should we have done 10?
never.
Okay. Thank you, Brianna. This is why I
What do you mean
love
by
this
less-
girl.
less
I can't
tequila?
vote against your daughter-in-law, but
I think it depends on what you're going for. I think
really
for,
good.
for the fun of it, and we're being kind of brief with this. This is not
Sure.
like for the Tequila Council or anything. But
Nothing we do here is official ever. This is just a couple of.
my husband sometimes reminds me, Lily, Martha Stewart is not coming, so things are okay.
That's
so
so true. But I will say about this last tequila, that's a good thing. That's what Martha Stewart says, just in case you're wondering why I said that. Okay. See, that was a reference. Nobody got
Sorry.
it.
I'm
Is that-
getting crowded over
Oh,
here
you're-
just like
you're
you
fine.
are.
Is Martha Stewart people not paying attention to who she is now? Is she no longer a pop culture
didn't she get in
icon?
trouble for a while?
I don't know.
I wouldn't even define her as a pop culture
Okay.
icon.
She was doing shows with Snoopy Dogg.
I know. She was. Snoop Dogg totally did a show with my. I didn't see it, but I saw a clip from it on YouTube.
I haven't seen it either, but
It was like the biggest culture clash of all time, but it was awesome because
yeah.
of it. So, all right, tequila This is B. Need to make myself a note
Oh.
on A here.
I
I
don't
feel
get
like
any,
right off the bat, you
not
saved the
getting-
peppery ones for last.
Maybe.
but I can't.
I don't
Yeah.
have a Sauza in this batch. The Sauza, you may remember, Bree, we had a bottle of that Sauza when we were out in Los Angeles. The Sauza Anejo. That is like the biggest pepper bomb tequila
yeah.
I've ever had. It's good, but it's like, wow.
We were making margaritas with that when we were in LA, right? That was our margarita leader.
We were doing a lot of things with that when we were in LA.
I think making margaritas with Anejo Tequila is a sin.
Generally speaking, we don't do it, but in this particular case, it was the only tequila we had, and we decided to go for it. So, I was away from my normal bar. You're making a face on this one, Brianna. This is not doing it for you.
It's not.
Really?
I like pepper bombs. I'm not a huge fan.
Chili pepper.
It overcomes the flavors and the profiles that I like in a
All
tequila.
right,
which
I'm going to
draws
say
me to
something
it.
in here about this one.
Okay.
Apple
There is some apple in
has
there.
like
Yes.
a bright red apple kind of thing going on right when you take the first sip of it.
I need to try to find
And
that.
where is that pepper coming from?
Oh, I can
The-
smell
Pepper's
it
coming
now.
from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's it starts right at the lips. Like sometimes they start in the front of the palate. This one starts at the lips.
And lasts for the whole experience, really. Very interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
I can smell
right.
the apple now that you said something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a very distinctive, to me, it has a very distinctive red apple right at the beginning of this, which is a little weird, but it's not bad tasting.
All right. So
See, that's what they say when the experts are tasting the catadores. They can't talk to each other. They can hear each other because
Right.
they're
You
influenced
can, well, yeah,
each other.
you definitely will influence, and sometimes if someone points it out, you'll start to look for
Oh,
it too.
yes.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
that's
as
absolutely true.
experienced, so I'm like,
But-
Well,
those
but that's-
tasting note profiles
But honestly,
help me
that's
also
one of the things
identify.
that I tell people when they're first starting to learn how to taste spirits or cigars and how to find the flavor. Yeah, it's just a different
I
size
don't
cup.
know that I really
Oh,
love
oh,
that one,
but
but
it's
I
the
really
same.
kind of like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a different size cup. But one of the things I tell people is if you're having trouble identifying, look at some of the reviews for whatever it is, a cigar that you're tasting, a wine or a tequila that you're tasting. Look for the flavors and aromas that the people who are writing that review say they find and see if you can find them. It's a great way to begin to train your palate to identify things, which can wind up being a lot of fun and can really annoy people who come over to your house, which I also like to do because unless they're people that I really like, I'm hoping they don't stay too long. You know what I'm saying?
That's a very good advice. Actually, in the wheel used by professionals and they identify all the different flavors, they say, look in your own home and identify all these different things and see.
Right,
Well, you can
see what you
become
taste like.
familiar with the
And
different scents.
a lot of times when we'll have someone on from like a whiskey company or a spirit company, they'll bring with them some of the basic flavors and things that you identify in
like chocolates
in the
or
whiskey.
different,
exactly.
spices
So
or
that you can kind of like smell them
herbs.
and
And
compare them
compare.
to what you're getting.
Compare? Oh,
Yes,
that's a
also.
great idea.
I'm like, that's an amazing idea.
What you getting here, Ian? Always,
It's got this very warm, friendly agave on the nose.
I like friendly agave. That's very good.
And like just from the nose, vanilla and oak, like right off the bat. There's no doubts about.
And very light flavor.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It has a very nice, delicate kind of flavor
How
to
does
it,
it strike you, Brianna?
and a little peppery on the finish.
Yeah, I get a little of the pepper.
I think what's throwing me off is the bitter aftertaste. It isn't smooth all the way through for me.
Right.
The
'Cause
aftertaste is like it's bitter, or it's like it's almost like
It's
it's tannic.
Oaky astringency.
Right,
Yeah.
it's an astringency. You and I have a tendency to like things that really have a lot of that vanilla or maple on the finish.
I want it to
and
be
this
smooth
doesn't
all the way
have that, so
through.
it's not quite as smooth of a finish. But again, it just depends on what some people may think
It's
this
a-
is
it's a
more true
dryness to
tequila.
the finish.
Yeah.
Right, it's a
Yeah,
dryness.
this is what people in Mexico will love. Right?
Really?
Yeah, this is
And
the
so
true
is this-
flavor of
Is this more
tequila.
like dry? Like this is what you guys would you know?
Oh, this is definitely dry. I mean, like just stop taking a sip for a minute and breathe, like your lips and everything, and
Yep.
feeling that immediately.
It would not surprise me, although I think this is really delicious, but it would not surprise me if you told me this wasn't an añejo, that it was a reposado, or because it's got a little more of that sort of pure agave taste and a little more of the astringency and dryness and a little less of that impacted by whatever barrel it was aged in sort of vibe to it. But it's still quite good. All right, we have reached Tequila D, our last tequila of the day. Well, it didn't have to be your last tequila of the day, but it's the last one of the tasting. So here we go. As we these cups are cracking me up with these.
Me too.
With these little tasting areas inside the middle. So okay. So final one.
This one is definitely oily. Look at that.
Well, it sure is.
And the color, look at the color.
It's very caramel color, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the viscosity on this
Interesting.
is.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
It's
Do you see the pearls or the legs?
I do. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is the one that has the highest viscosity. Well, since you and I started tasting it.
Very
I've
interesting.
been looking at it. I just haven't commented
A bit
on
agave
it.
forward, some nice maple and vanilla on the finish. Ian?
This is almost a whiskey profile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is very whiskey barrel
Whiskey
forward,
friendly.
if you ask
Mhm.
me.
Right. It's got a little more zip to it than some of them do on the front end, especially. You kind of know you're drinking alcohol on this one, you know?
An unwelcomed tequila.
Okay, so
Unwelcome tequila.
interesting. We were talking about that oaky dryness
It's
on the
awkward.
last one. This one has that oaky dryness like the last one, but it's at the front of the palate and then finishes sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So it does almost the opposite of what our last.
Now, another
Tasted.
factor we have here to remember is this is too wide, the mouth.
Right. We are
should
drinking out
have
of too big of a
something
glass.
like this, right?
Right.
So, but
So let me just see what happens when I pour it into one of these.
you want to try one
Yeah.
of the Glencairn glasses? This is slightly different, but that's a whiskey tasting glass. And this is a Riedel.
You know, interestingly enough, you do lose a little bit of that just almost whiskey forward sort of vibe that you were getting when it was in the cup when you do this.
Did it really?
Yeah, the agave is definitely more on the nose when you're drinking it.
Fascinating.
Here.
Yeah.
But see, the agave has a like a charred smokiness to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen and ladies, let's
Okay.
see what you liked best out of this
Still getting
batch.
Smoky.
Let's start with Lilliana.
Okay. This one is my favorite on this
This
group.
the last
D.
one that we just
Yes,
tasted. D.
this one.
Okay.
D. And then next to that will be the A. I
A,
thought
the
it
very
was
first
good
one.
agave
Mm-hmm.
aromas and taste.
Yeah.
And then C will be
Right.
number 3. It was a little light, but I like, and a little peppery, but. And then the last one to me will be B.
Okay.
It was I even wrote in my notes I don't like it very much.
Ah, very interesting. So that's a really good though. I'm glad that you're that upfront about it, Brianna.
All right, so my number 1 is A.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 is C. My
Okay.
number 3 is B, and my number 4 is D.
All right, very good. And Ian, you,
Backwards.
of course, I had a feeling.
No, straight backwards. So from A to D, 4, 3, 2, 1.
From A to D, with A being your least favorite,
Yes.
and then B, and then C, and then D was your absolute favorite.
Yep.
We agree again.
We agree
So-
on every
Ian!
single favorite.
So
we
it's-
agree
You're
on
my
that one.
amigo.
It's just so interesting because it just shows you how different but also similar palates can be, because Brianna and I always seem to be so close, and you guys always seem to be so close in terms of
So
what you
I had a
are
little tough one on
tasting.
that one between C and D because I really like both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible that I like D better right now because it's actually in my hand.
Right. It does have the in the hand factor.
I might have actually just a taste of C.
And let me tell you something interesting. They have asked people to taste the same tequila and the different
Different
types of
glasses.
glasses, and
It's different.
It's different.
And it's absolutely amazing.
Well, it certainly.
I was shocked at how much it changed just pouring this one into
I was going
this.
to say it changed the nose substantially when I poured it in the Glencairn. Like a big difference in the nose.
For mine, I would go with my number 1 was A. I thought it was spectacular.
Me too.
D was my number 2. B, and then C. Was my
We're
order for that.
close.
So yeah, we're close.
We have the same
We're
number
close.
ones, Cruze.
Adam, and we've done that a number of times today. Adam, let's do the reveal. What was A, which Brianna and I loved?
Espanita.
Espanita. So we had
Oh,
this. This was
yes.
actually on the show. Was it last weekend? No,
Yeah.
last week was Garrison Brothers. This
Couple
was
weeks
the
ago.
last tequila we had.
Yeah, last
on the
week
show.
I was watching
Espanita.
you.
Yeah, and it was good. Now, is that one that's new to you as well?
Yeah.
All right, you might want to get her the number off of that one too.
That is, let's see, 1467.
All right. She will do the research and report back to us. Make sure all of these are worth it. All right, B. Did anybody pick B high, or did everybody pick B a little
That
lower?
was my least.
B was my number 3.
B
Was your
my
number 3? Was your
Four.
least favorite? Was
Yeah.
your number 3? Was my
We're like
number
number
3?
three buddies.
So it didn't do as well. B was
Tres Generones.
Tres Generaciones. So this is an interesting, But again, it just goes to show you how these blind taste tests are, because we've had the same thing happen with beers and other things that we've
We
blind
like that
taste
on the show,
tested.
too.
And we did, and they have changed the bottle. It used to be the 3 older gentlemen, the 3 generations of tequila makers from.
And they're
from the company.
famous, and I
Yes.
I love the reposados. To
Yeah,
me, the Tres
uh-huh.
Generaciones
Yeah.
reposados is the best, but
I'm
you know.
shocked. Yeah, no, I love.
That's the way these blind taste tests are.
But it
now,
might
though.
also
There's
have
always
changed
surprises.
owners.
Well,
because
they may have. I know they changed the bottle for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
They changed the bottle for sure. All right, Adam. Tequila C was
Código.
Código. Very
Oh,
interesting. All right.
George
so
Strait.
I'm going to tell you this is interesting because I actually picked this last of my 4. This is far and away, with the exception of I don't know how much Lilliana's cost, but this is far and away the most expensive tequila we've tasted today.
Yeah.
That was my number 2.
Yeah. So.
It is more expensive than
Yes.
the one I bought.
But it
Yeah.
isn't necessarily. I guess what it goes to show you is that the price doesn't necessarily affect how good it is. In
Yeah.
fact, one of my favorites that's going to make one of my top 3s was a very inexpensive añejo.
And you know, I did a tequila tasting
Yes,
online
I
with
remember.
George Strait.
Yes, you did
He
that.
drinks it with ice.
He drinks it with
Yeah.
ice.
Stop.
Drink
Make
it how you
stop.
like it,
Yeah,
baby.
that is
Make
so
it
true.
stop.
It's so true, Ian. Drink it how you like it, whatever makes it
Yeah.
work. Well, I do really love that tequila. I didn't rank it as high here, but I as you can tell, Ian, I'd already opened the bottle and I enjoyed it immensely. In fact, I had to force myself not
I
to
put it as my
drink
number
too much
2.
of it. Okay.
That's my number
Okay.
2.
But it does just go to show you,
Me too.
it got beat out
thought it
by,
was
I think,
great.
all of us by at least one other tequila that was probably half its
And
price.
I even mentioned it. Number 2 and number 1 were pretty close to each other in my.
And I
Same here.
believe the Espanita was $40. That was over $100.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
You
and then
see,
is
that's
this
what
the
a
bottle?
celebrity does. Endorsement. That's
Right.
celebrity
That's
endorsement.
exactly
That's
right.
very true.
That's exactly right.
Is the specs is that the bottle design or is that minerality within the tequila?
That's and by the way, it does come in one of those shoots.
It's part
you
of the
know.
glass.
I
But
think
yeah, I
that's
think it's part of
that's
the
the
glass.
glass.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was like,
part
I'm
of the glass.
concerned about
I
what's
almost bought. I picked this up at Specs.
What
this
she's
week.
talking about is if you look super close at the glass on this
It has
Código,
the dots. You see the dots?
you'll see little air bubbles in the glass
Right,
itself.
right. And it's the glass
It
design.
might be hand-blown glass. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's-
until
yeah,
we
no, that's
research
fine.
it more.
I was just concerned about if those were speckles
Speckles
in the
in the
tequila.
tequila.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm
And
like,
then
that's
not,
a
yeah.
lot of that's a heavy minerality.
I will say,
which
by
I
the way,
didn't
that-
pick up on my tasting notes.
So I picked that up this week at Specs. They also had a Specs like Cask Select Código Añejo, but I didn't get it because I thought if this like scores really high, I want people to be able to go buy this one.
How much
You know.
is the cask?
It was like maybe $10 more than this one, so it
I
was
will-
expensive. But
I'll
not,
tell you, I like that one. I like this one a lot. I would be interested in trying that cask select if you want to buy it.
It might be if I want to buy it. Yeah, yeah. It was only like $115 or whatever.
I'm only like $35 interested,
Yeah,
so
I
I'll pitch in
understand.
if you want.
I understand.
I love the disclaimer he put in there.
We could always put it together. All right, one more tequila to reveal. What was Tequila D?
Classic 1800.
That's the
Classic
one I
1800.
brought.
Yeah, 1800
It's
Añejo.
funny. That's
And that
the
was
one
my
And
last.
that was my second favorite in
That
this
was
batch,
my
yeah.
favorite, and I was blinded, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't
right.
know.
That's why it's. That's why it's.
Yeah.
So this is 1800 Añejo, 100% agave. So, help me, Liliana, with Jose Cuervo.
Yeah.
What does it mean when one of their tequilas is 1800? Because I've had 1800 that it seems like it's a step above the regular Jose Cuervo, but it's certainly not as good as this.
Yeah,
What-
well,
is it just a
it's
marketing
a
thing?
marketing
Okay,
thing,
that's
and
what I thought.
remember,
Yeah.
the Cuervo family doesn't own the distillery anymore.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It
Well,
has changed.
So do we know who owns it now?
I don't, but I can research that as I
Well,
will research the other
okay.
NOMs, and I can
That'd be
send
good
you
to
a
know.
report.
That'd be good to know. And I'd like to speak now, if I could, directly to the current owners of the Jose Cuervo distillery. If you guys mess up
I know you're gonna
Reserva
say.
de la Familia, I'm coming for you.
Me too.
And so is my friend. And now, of course, I can't think of the guy's name. So is my friend Ian. No, I was thinking of what's his name, the actor who's like, I will find you and I will kill you.
Okay.
Liam Neeson, thank you. My buddy Liam Neeson is coming for you
Okay,
too.
I have an announcement.
Okay.
Please blame it on my age.
Okay.
I did research 1800 a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The new owner is, and the founder of 1800 is named Juan Domingo Beckman.
Juan Domingo Beckman?
Yeah.
From the
Interesting.
Beckman.
But the maestro tequilero,
Yeah.
the one that is in charge of overseeing the whole process, his name is Alejandro Coronado. And I know
Okay.
Alejandro Coronado has been with Cuervo for
Okay,
a
well,
number of
that
years.
sounds like a guy who knows tequila. I'm not
Yes.
sure about
And
Beckman.
please forgive me for not really
Oh,
knowing right
Liliana,
away.
please,
I-
come on. You know so much more about tequila than all of us in the room combined.
Right?
I mean, come on. Let me just tell you though, Mr. Beckman, I don't know what your story is and why you're involved, but just do not mess up my Reserva de la Familia. Even if you keep making it more expensive, at least keep making it as good as it is, because that's a special thing. That's sacred. That's divine. That's all I'm trying to say. So this has been great fun. We are going to take a very quick break. It's been a long show, but it's deserved to be this long. And we're going to take a very quick break, and we will come back and reveal each of us our 3 favorites of the day. And I'm still a little undecided on what my
3
3
favorites.
are.
I
3
know.
favorites of the day.
I
Yeah.
already got him.
3 favorites. Oh, of course she
I'm
does.
like, yeah.
Yeah, she tries to tell us she's not an expert, but she's got it. She's got it already taken care of. We'll be right back with our final results. It's Smokin' and Toastin'. Welcome back. It's Smokin' and Toastin'. We are so thrilled to have you here for show number 231. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are brought to you by mycigarshirts.com. Cigar shirts available on the web, and they're awesome at mycigarshirts.com because cigars, yes. A couple of quick things. The first is that this is completely unrelated to anything, but my wife just texted me a little notice of something I did not know, and I just have to mention it because it's awesome. My Octopus Teacher, the documentary film on Netflix, was one of the Oscar winners this year. And if you have not seen it, it is one of the most amazing and mesmerizing documentaries you will ever watch. Highly recommended. I recommended it to you guys, I know.
Yep,
and you
you
enjoyed
recommended it to me and Adam, and we watched it, and I cried.
it. I was going to say, it,
It
will make
was
you cry. If you can believe that a
amazing.
documentary about a guy and an octopus will make you cry, this does. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So it was just my quick recommendation. It won an Oscar. It deserved it. Check it out. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road, guys. It's the 3 favorites that all 4 of us have chosen. And I want to start with my tequila buddy, Brianna.
Oh man.
So give me number 3, number 2, and number 1 in that order.
Okay.
Your third favorite of the day was, and by the way, I just want to point out, this is the most empty cups we've ever had on any Smokin' and Toastin' show ever. They're just everywhere.
We look like an aftermath of
Take
a
us a while
frat
to clean
party.
up. Yeah, this is worse than hanging out with Jeremiah Butler. I mean, it's pretty serious. So, all right, Brianna, number 3.
All right, so my number 3, out of all of them, was A from 4, which I didn't write down the name.
A from 4, which
from 4
was
18. Sorry, Espanita.
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 Okay. All right, so Ian, show us Espanita, just so it's right there, the tall one. So that's it. Espanita, Brianna's number 3. All right.
My number 2 was Socorro.
Socorro, which was another tall one, which was.
Are you about to unleash the
I think
Hulk
it's
on
over
me?
there. Yeah. That's
It's
Socorro.
right there, Ian.
I don't know where
Yeah.
anything
Right
is.
there. That's Socorro.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have way too many bottles over here.
Espanita, Socorro, and your number 1, Brianna.
And my number 1 is Carrera.
Carrera, which is very interesting. There it is. It's the kind of square-sided one right over there.
That one, I don't know if it's like, first impressions stick with you.
I don't know where it went. It may have disappeared. Brianna may have tucked it away in her bag so she could take it home. I'm not sure, but
Adam has it.
It was a kind of
Adam
a
has it.
square-sided
There it
bottle.
is.
Yeah,
Wait.
so it's coming back over. Just want to show everybody the bottles on our top 3s because these are ones that you might want to go
Yeah, I don't know.
and check out.
Yeah, first impressions stick with you and
So-
leave a imprint, but this one certainly did.
So
it was amazing.
when we had that tequila on the show, Ian and I actually did a side by side with the Reposado and the Anejo, and the Reposado is quite good as well. So, so very good. All right, Ian, you're next, my brother.
I'm just running out of room over here. All right. So,
Don't spill too much tequila on your mini me. there.
this was this is a
That's
tough one.
little Ian.
I don't. The order is a little tough on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with my knee jerk reaction. Okay.
Okay,
3,
that's
2,
probably the
1.
best.
Mi Agave, number 3.
Mi Agave, that was such a good tequila. Oh, love it.
I think Adam has
Love
that
it,
one
yeah.
over there.
That's the one that's
Or-
the round bottle
it's
with
right
the
here.
dark black label. Yep.
Mi Agave.
And you can tell I haven't drank much of that at home. So
Right, you didn't like that one.
clearly was not
All
a
right.
favorite. All right. Mi Agave,
Number 2,
3.
Padron. The Padron.
Padron
Extra
and
Añejo.
that was so
Man,
good. Was so good. I'm not
Super
surprised.
delicious.
The classic Padron bottle shape. Very good.
And number 1 for me was Casa Noble.
Casa Noble. And do we still have that bottle?
I think Adam. has
Adam
it.
may have that one back again. So let's make sure we're showing it off. Thank you, Adam. And this one, obviously, we haven't had much of at home either. So Casa Noble Añejo. That's a good tequila.
Casa Noble.
It really is.
Now, what I'm interested to see here is every number 1 for every segment I've matched with Lilliana, so I'm wondering what her number 1 is.
Okay.
All right, Lilliana, I guess it's your turn. Number 3.
Number 3, Mi Agave.
Mi Agave. That was your number
That was
3,
my
wasn't
number
it?
3.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
My number 2 was Casa Noble.
Casa Noble. Now, was that your number 1?
That was my
Ian?
number 1, yeah.
All right. So let's show the Mi Agave again, just
Yeah.
because that's a really good tequila, and we all
Mi
love
Agave.
that, and that did very well
Mi
with everybody.
Agave, Casa
Casa
Noble.
Noble, and your number 1,
My number 1 was Patron.
Patron. There it is.
Oh, we got
So we
this.
know
Just
what-
as we got
so
the same
you and
list,
Ian,
though.
You and Ian, very,
Super
very
interesting.
close. Well, all right. Well, this shouldn't surprise you, but my list is going to bear some resemblance to Brianna's.
We're expecting that.
My number 3 was the Espanita, which
Yes, Bonita.
oh man, I wish there was more of that left than there is. That's really good. My number 2 was the one that actually surprised me the most of the whole tasting was the El Amo. The El Amo was number 2 for my tasting.
Which
and
one
I'm
was that?
Thrilled to report that will have
C
segment
of
3.
the segment 3.
yeah, C of segment 3.
C of segment
That one
3.
just rocked me for whatever reason. And my number 1 was Socorro. Socorro, which is also, was that your number 1, Bree?
That was my number 2.
Your number 2. So you and I had 2 out of our 3
Yeah.
the same.
Carrera was my number 1.
And you
I
guys
love that
were,
one.
and I love that too. You guys were almost identical, actually, you and Ian. So what I think that can demonstrate pretty clearly is
that
that
we have taste and you are questionable.
that's exactly where I was headed. No, but just how much taste can differ.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the people who like similar things and who gravitate towards similar profiles and similar tastes do have a tendency to like many of the same things.
But that's
so.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
No,
didn't
that's
hear.
why I don't recommend people to do these. No. And the best way to establish your favorite tequilas is to start trying different brands, and you
Right.
buy the little samples.
Right, you can buy the smaller bottles.
Yeah, the smaller bottles, and you expand your palate, and then you
Although,
can determine.
Expanding the palate, and like that's one of the reasons we talk about what we're tasting. We talk about our tasting notes, and we share what we're experiencing with it, because even though we can influence, I taste apple or I taste whatever in this, even though we can influence that, like these are things, if they sound appealing to you, I did that because I said apple. If they sound appealing to you,
I see what you did. Well,
then that's a great way to go. Okay, I like the sound of that flavor
right,
profile.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll go try
Maybe
that.
that's a good one for me to try. Another thing I would recommend, if you're going out for Cinco de Mayo and the place that you're going for Cinco de Mayo does tequila flights. That's a wonderful way to get just a small taste
Amazing.
of different kinds. Begin to set up what your palate likes the most. And I can't say this enough. Find out whether it's just listening to us here on the show, or find out places where you can read where people are offering tasting notes. They say, when I tasted this, here's what I got. Try that yourself and see if you get those same things. You might or you might not, but it'll help you begin to identify different flavors and stuff.
As Lilliana started to say at the beginning of the show, everything that you've experienced on your palate for that day is going to influence
100%.
your tasting.
100%,
So, if you came from having spicy hot wings and you can't tell that there's a little smokiness in this particular
True.
tequila, I mean...
Right.
That's a part of it too. But you know what? If you find a tequila that you really, really like after eating spicy hot wings,
Then you'll know that.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. For sure. Well, Lilliana, let me just say you are in the rare air of our absolute favorite guests on the show. We love
thank you,
having
guys.
you on Smokin' and Toastin'.
Thank
and
you.
and
She's
you're
the tequila.
You're one of only a handful of guests that we have on the show that people talk about on the comments. And when I say talk about, I mean saying positive things. Like we have Alan Denny on, but people don't necessarily say positive things. So when we have Lilliana on, everybody seems to chime in and tell us how much they love having her on. And we love having you too. Thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here.
guys.
This would not have been the same without you. And thanks for helping us celebrate Cinco de Mayo the right way. Brianna, all I can say is everything here that has a little bit left in it is coming back to my house. So you and Adam are invited over.
I'll see you guys Sunday.
All right.
For family night.
Yeah, it
So.
is game night on Sunday for our family, so I have a feeling tequila will be involved.
And
so.
happy birthday, Ian!
And happy
Thank
birthday,
you so
birthday,
much.
Ian.
Let's see little Ian one more time before we go. He can take us home.
It's not that kind of party. Oh wait, you're talking about this
I'm
little.
talking
I'm
about
a married woman. It's not that kind of party.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for Smokin' and Toastin'. We have had a blast this show. Have a great week yourself. We'll talk to you next week. And I think next week we're going to be talking Bloody Marys on the show next week. So
Oh, that's
that
right.
should be a
Smokin'
lot of
Mary,
fun.
right?
Yeah, Smokin' Mary tells us how to make the best Bloody Mary. All on Smokin' and Toastin' next week. Have a great one, and cheers, y'all.